Someone shouts to the young lady that he is heading towards her, and the girl realizes that life is barely making ends meet. And also the origin that does not allow her to even enter the capital. All this is already tiring her. The girl immediately attacks the monster and then easily cuts through its skin, under which is the core. The monster doesn't move anymore. After that, the young lady just swears. This lady's name is Ella Rain, and she is a monster hunter. The girl realizes that she was an ordinary otaku living in South Korea just 3 years ago. After which, she again beats the monster and screams what the hell she is doing now in this damn place. The girl screams that she hates it, but she doesn't even have the opportunity to see her favorite. After which, she also asks how the hell she ended up there. The other monster hunters say how crazy this girl is, and she's at it again. Ella realizes that she has entered the world of the novel that she read herself, and its title is The End of the Abyss. Readers can be divided into several types. Some are interested in the plot, others are captivated by the universe of the book, and for the latter, it is simply pleasure that is important. When the girl finished reading the novel, she understood that she was the one who reads because of the appearance of the main characters. The girl looked at the beautiful cover of the novel and thought, what kind of perfection is this? And it was only thanks to this guy that she was able to read this novel to the end. Gerard Acellanos is the main character of the novel, called The End of the Abyss and the Crown Prince in his universe. The guy tried in every way to win the heart of the Duke's daughter named Ailia, but his methods were somewhat unconventional. He insidiously got rid of everyone the main character loved, and by comforting her after the grief she had experienced, he was able to gain the favor he desired. In short, he is a handsome asshole, and even if he is crazy, it still does not change the fact of his unchanging appearance, because he will still remain only on the pages of the book. The girl is also interested in how she would feel when she saw him in person, and whether he would be even more attractive in reality. Now the young lady understands that she should have expressed her thoughts more specifically then, because they did not mean at all that she wanted to move into this world and truly see it. After which, the girl asks the worker what he just said. The guy replies that this is after all a center for the sale of monster attributes, which is ruled by the imperial family, so there is no need to speak in such a rude tone. But the girl just furiously puts the horn on the floor and then asks how many of these she brought. Kevin replies that there are 3 horns, and the girl replies that that's right, there are 3 horns. However, she also asks if he wants to give her only 3 gold for them or just go into eternal sleep. She also says that they apparently have twice as many monster hunters and 6 times as many hunters who bring attributes of first-level monsters without a single scratch. The girl also says that he understands that on the black market, they will give her these 3 gold coins for one such thing. But Kevin screams that the black market is forbidden in their country, and even if it is first level, it is just horror. His rock is rarely used, so they buy it for a minimum price. The young lady then says with a smile on her face that he has a talent for talking nonsense and that she understands correctly that now monsters are judged not by risk, but by demand. And then the price of a deal's skin can be raised 5 times because there is a high demand for it. The guy doesn't know what to answer after that, and the people in the hall say that the girl is at it again, after which his interlocutor tells the guy to be quieter. Otherwise, he will attract attentions. The main character at this time wonders if Kevin is worried that he is level 5, but the demand for him is high, and according to his logic, she should now go after a monster that is easier to catch than Pi, in order to get a much higher fee for it, and who then will be engaged in catching first-level monsters. The girl asks what she's doing wrong, after which the guy just remains silent. The girl addresses him again, which frightens him, and he says that he's listening. But at that very moment, the girl leans her weapon against the guy and tells him not to think that all hunters are idiots who only know how to fight. So if he dares to say something like that to her again, she will show him a real monster. After which, the girl asks how much he said he would give for these horns. The guy answers that 7 gold, after which the main character grabs them and says that this is great. When she leaves, she also says that this is a great place. Therefore, she will be their regular customer for a long time. Otherwise, it is impossible to negotiate with people from the black market. The young man then tells her to see you soon, and the girl leaves. On the street, she meets her colleague. This is a monster hunter named Mariah Wayne. The guy asks how much the girl got, to which she replies that there are 7 gold pieces, after which her colleague screams that It can't be the state, because they only gave him 3. Rain replies that it's because he agrees with everything they try to push on him, but the guy replies that it has nothing to do with the imperial family. Well, the young lady asks, what's wrong with Togo? And what difference does it make to her? Rain also wonders if it's not strange that they try to divide everyone in this world into classes, and yet everyone is the same people. And if they want admiring glances and respect in their direction, then let them send reinforcements to the border. Maybe they'll come to their senses if the whole country is taken over by monsters. Wayne then just says what kind of jokes the lady has, and he wonders if the lady has forgotten that the palace is protected by the blessing of Asalanos, so no monster can enter it. The girl then says that a person like her can become one. Well, in general, she won't even meet her favorite, so why did she move there at all? But at this rate, all her fantastic love for him will dry up before their meeting. Although as soon as she sees him, her love for him will rise like a phoenix from the ashes. The guy then asks what this means, and the young lady replies that he doesn't need to know because she's not in the mood today, so she'll go home and eat too much meat. But after this, the young man asks her to wait and understands that she does this every time. And yet they have known each other for 3 years, but he still does not understand what she is talking about. At this time, someone in the palace comes to His Highness and asks if he really summoned him. It turns out to be a duke named Clive Winterlock. The emperor then says he has some errands for the boy. At this time, the girl realizes that she has been sick for several days in a cramped one-room apartment, and she constantly tried to keep her mind under control, feeling the heat coming out of hers. And when the girl barely opened her eyes, some man immediately approached her, and he asked if she could hear him. The girl then realized in shock that she was in a completely unfamiliar environment where a bald old man was sitting next to her. Rain immediately got up from the bed and, looking around, asked where she was, and if this was really a dream. But the man asked what she was talking about because he hadn't seen her for 4 days, so he became worried and came. After all, he thought that the monsters had already eaten her, after which the girl was surprised and understood that this was some kind of familiar and at the same time unusual word. She knows what it means, but this simply cannot be. After which the young lady gets out of bed, and the man says that she should lie down a little longer. However, the girl at that very moment starts running somewhere and thinks that this is all a deception and an illusion, because this place cannot be the universe of the novel called The End of the Abyss. But suddenly, the girl sees a huge monster in front of her and wonders what it is. The monster only throws the girl back with a blow, after which she realizes that she is in pain, and this is definitely not a dream. But the girl does not understand what to do because she needs to stop this monster somehow, after which she sees an axe near her, and then a red crystal on the monster's forehead. The girl immediately raises the axe and hits the monster with it. A little while later, when it starts to rain, the young lady, looking at her reflection, asks who she is anyway. At that moment, someone runs up to her and asks if she's okay, but the lady grabs the guy by his clothes, and he wonders what the name of the crown prince is in this state. The guy with blue hair says that the lady scares him, but she only screams for him to quickly tell her the name of the prince's heir, after which he claims that his name is Gerard Atsalanos and tells the girl to let him go. The young lady does so and asks if this is the same handsome asshole. The guy then asks if she really calls His Highness an asshole, and has she really gone crazy? He also says that the lady should watch her tongue if she wants to live a little longer, because such words from the lips of an ordinary hunter can lead to execution. The young lady at this time only sighs and thinks, what the hell is this? After all, these are unreal monsters that she has only seen in games, and this name is definitely from the world of The End of the Abyss. After which the girl says that you can go crazy because she didn't mean that she wanted to see him in real life. Now she says that whoever sent her there, at least he did his job properly, because he moved her into the body of a person whose name doesn't even appear in the novel. And if she were some aristocrat from the imperial family, she would satisfy her fanatical love in close proximity. Well then, the young lady wonders who this girl is, and the people from the village know little about her. The guy with blue hair claimed that she had just arrived in this village, and the girl understands that this life has gone awry, after which she hits the bell on the stone and breaks it, and also says that if the respected lord really exists, then let him prepare his beautiful neck and wait her arrival. The girl also understands that no matter how skilled a hunter you are, it is impossible to exterminate monsters alone. Each species has special abilities, and they often attack people in packs. In some places where there were no aristocrats who would send their troops against the monsters, hunters appeared who confronted them in order to protect their loved ones. And there, on the western border, the girl watched the hunters who protected each other's rear. A little while later, she is already dragging some kind of monster, and one of the people claims that this monster is level 1. So how did she cope with it alone? The main character asked if he was level 1, and the man asked if she didn't know, and how she managed to catch him at all. The girl replies that she doesn't even know, because he went completely limp when she hit him with her axe. A little while later, the young lady wonders why she said that. After all, she was always alone so as not to attract attention, but at some point everything went wrong, and now someone offers the lady to fight once. She thinks who knew that such a stupid rule could appear because of this old man. The man claimed that the person who defeated Ella Rain in a one-on-one fight would be able to enter the Antoni forest alone to hunt. Now the young lady thinks how this infuriates her, after which she also asks the Lord to forgive her for the words she said in the heat of the moment. But since it happened, she tells him and asks him if he can return it back to her. The girl asks him again and claims that she will be a good boy. About her opponent, at this time, screams is the girl really ignoring him. The lady understands that she needs to be patient because he is just a person, and she should not cut him in half. Well then, someone else asks if this coward is really the same Ella Rain that everyone is talking about. After all, she looks so weak that she can barely skin a low-level monster. The guy also tells the girl to attack him, and she understands that it is immediately obvious that he was a gangster in the city, and having heard that hunting monsters brings income, he came there. So the young lady says that yes, and he is right, after which the guy falls silent, and then asks what she is talking about. Rain replies that he is absolutely right, because she can't even skin a deal. Well then someone present asks that maybe she meant that she doesn't do it because she is too lazy. The guy then claims that he was told to defeat her so that he could enter the forest. The girl claims that this is just nonsense. Why would he get permission to do this? Let him just go there, no one will stop him. The guy then asks if that's really the case, but it wasn't for nothing that he thought that something didn't add up there. To which the girl replies that the forest doesn't have an owner, so let him step boldly. Ruin also asks who told him to defeat her, and that person was just joking with him. After which the guy gets angry at the old man and says that it was not for nothing that he smirked then. The boy also thanks Rain for telling him the truth, and the girl states that she is happy to help. After which the guy leaves and says that he is leaving then, and the young lady says goodbye to him forever. And when the guy comes out, the girl stops smiling and says what a dumbass he is. After all, he is so stupid that he decided to go into the forest alone. At that moment, a guy with blue hair approaches Rain, and he screams that if this man goes alone, he may fall into eternal sleep. Well, the young lady claims that usually such fools cannot be convinced, so it is better to say goodbye to them on a good note. And his face is not to her taste, after which the guy says that this is the real reason. After which the guy puts his hand on his forehead, and then screams as if this has happened for the umpteenth time already. He runs after this fool and screams for him to stop, and the young lady only sighs. A little while later, she returns home and realizes that today has been an easy day, and that idiot was most likely saved by Wayne, so she doesn't have to worry. But then the main character sees the headman of a village on the western border near her house. She is a little surprised, and then says that she didn't really want to meet him. After all, the mercenaries sent by him come to her without interruption. The man asks if she is talking about mercenaries. And does he really mean those young guys who wanted to go into the forest alone? The girl then asks when he is going to abolish this annoying rule. And is he really waiting for her to actually put someone into eternal sleep? But the man says that she won't do that. The young lady says how the old man irritates her, but he claims that she does the same to him. Or the girl understands that if it weren't for her conscience screaming inside that elders need to be respected, she would have confessed to this old man long ago. At this time, the man suggests talking about this later, and claims that he came to the girl with a request. The young lady wonders why he suddenly became so serious, and let him act as usual. She also wonders if the flying monsters have appeared in the Baron's estate again. After which she says that okay, and she is not interested in the details. The thing is payment. He will have to get rid of this rule. However, the man claims that this time something is different, after which he addresses the lady by her full name and surname, and also tells her to stop hunting monsters. The Duke at this time asks forgiveness from His Highness for not attending the last meeting due to personal reasons. The man says that it's not a big deal because his close friend died and offered his condolences. The brunette thanks him. And after this, the Crown Prince suggests getting down to business because at the last meeting, an important issue was discussed about which he wanted to consult with him. There was talk about assigning the guy to write books about monsters. And at the moment, the existing reference book has significant flaws. After all, although the type and main characteristics of the monsters are indicated, nothing is written there about the methods of their destruction, so this cannot be delayed any longer. The capital is safe thanks to the blessing of Atalanos, but the people outside their capital suffer every day because of monsters. The Duke has always served as a role model and was very popular among the people, so they respect him, and the track record of his knightly squad is very commendable. There is not a single person in this empire who would doubt that he is the right one for this task, and that this is an order for the Duke. Let him create a collection of ways to destroy all the monsters from the western border. After all, he believes in him, to which the Duke agrees. A little while later, the main character talks to her grandfather. She asks if an aristocrat from the capital will come there with his knightly squad. The man replies that Baron Bakram is simply not himself. He can't sit still. But the main character then wonders why they are going there. The village elder notes that they want to join forces with the border guards from Naifol and conduct a study of the monsters. The young lady is a little surprised. She says that no one will agree to go there, and this place has been abandoned for a long time. The man replies that she is right, because what kind of idiot would resist monsters while receiving a meager salary for it? A reasonable person would never agree. The girl says that most of the monsters in this canyon are first level, so one wrong move and you can lose your life. The elder replies that everything is exactly like that, because these people are going to plunge into eternal sleep. It is unlikely that they are going there for their own reasons, because most likely these are all disagreements and discords between high-ranking people. This was said by Baron Bakram, so the information is reliable. The man also says that in general, this aristocrat wants to take the guide from their village with him, and as soon as some fool follows them, then most likely he will be their shield and nothing more, and for them it will be the loss of their precious inhabitant and hunter. The girl then asks why he is worried, since no one will agree anyway, but the man says that who knows, they might offer a tidy sum. The main character immediately reacts to this, after which the headman claims that she just fell for it as soon as he mentioned money. The blonde asks if he really wants to say that she shouldn't tell him anything about hunting monsters, because she can be chosen as a guide, after which the man says what exactly. Many people know ways to destroy monsters, but rarely can anyone find them, and he would like the girl to stay in their village. After all, he doesn't want to lose such a skilled hunter like her. But the young lady claims that, as he said, they can offer a lot of money. She is confident that she can survive in the role of either a conductor or an accountant, so why should she stay there? The man then says that he will increase her bet by 50% and cancel that rule, after which the young lady agrees. The village elder laughs and says that it is good that he can come to an agreement with her. But the girl claims that if he does not keep his word, he will suffer. The elder replies that he does not have a spare life to play with fire, after which he gets up from his seat and says that he thinks they have decided everything, so he will go. The man also wishes the lady good night and then leaves. The girl sits back down at the table, and he understands that it's not for nothing that they say that you have to treat people well when they're still around you. But as soon as the threat appeared, this old man immediately raised the stakes. The girl also thinks about the aristocrat from the capital and wonders if he will come there to study the monsters. She thinks she remembers something similar in the book, but then it turns out that it was a carefully planned plan by the Crown Prince. The girl wonders who it was, but then she thinks, what difference does it make? Because in any case, she won't see her favorite there or here. After which, the lady just sighs and thinks that if only some handsome guy would fall from the sky on her. At this time, one of the servants turns to his lordship and informs him that they will arrive soon. He also asks the gentleman if he is serious about taking only one hunter with him as a guide, to which the brunette replies yes. And his servant thinks that it would be good if he took several, in case something goes wrong, even if according to the rules, you can only take one. After which, the servant claims that over there it seems is the entrance to the village, and the man takes off his hood. He also says that he hopes they can find the right person for them. A little while later, people ask if these are really the same aristocrats, and others answer that they must be. At this point, the girl turns to the headman, and he only winks as if asking if she remembers their deal. Wayne asks what's wrong with Uncle Glisson, and the girl replies that it's senile dementia. The guy with blue hair says that he seemed to be talking to a lady, but she replies that the symptoms must be manifesting in such an unusual way in this bald old man. She also asks the young man if he has heard anything about those people, because they say that they came to study monsters. Wayne replies that yes, he heard that a very high-ranking person came there to create a collection of monsters. The girl asks if this is really so, after which the young man replies that this is an order from the crown prince, and he must write about ways to exterminate monsters. Rain knows she doesn't know who he is, but he was clearly an eyesore. In other words, he was sent to sleep forever on the western borders. But now she remembers something and thinks, what was there? It was an aristocrat who was sent to the border and plunged into eternal sleep there. It was clearly written about in the book, but the girl can't remember him. But then she realizes that she just needs to forget. After all, what's the point in remembering him, no matter how cool he is? But he's still not as handsome as her Gerald. Well, at that very moment, the main character is shocked because she sees a handsome man in front of her. Wayne then turns to the young lady and asks if she has seen this, because this guy is so handsome, and this is the first time he has seen such a handsome person. But then he sees that the girl is very surprised, and then he says that it can't be, because he is unrealistically handsome. The young lady looking at this guy understands that she needs to switch, and he only feels someone's gaze on him. At this time, the captain of the Winter Night Squad introduces himself and says that, as they have already heard, they are looking for a guide who will go with them to help in studying the monsters. And their nightly squad decided to hold a hunting tournament, according to the results of which they would choose a person suitable for them. The hunter who joins them after completing the task will receive a well-deserved 500 gold. Everyone is immediately surprised by this, and someone claims that they won't earn this money even in 5 years. The girl understands that, considering that life is at stake, the amount is small, but she wonders why these people want to test skills when they could take everyone who applies and use them as a shield. At this time, someone tells those who want to take part to come up to their colleague and state their name. People immediately start running there and fighting for the line, and Wayne turns to the young lady and asks if she is going to go. After all, if she applies, she will definitely be chosen. But the girl thinks that if she was interested in money, she would not even consider these 500 gold pieces. However, this is the first handsome guy in these 3 long years, so she does not want to miss such a rare chance. And besides, she claims that if she agrees and goes to the border, then there is a high probability that they will not return from there. Wayne says that she is the strongest among them, so why worry? But the girl replies that she is not talking about herself, and the guy wonders if she's worried about him. The girl then thinks about what she should do because it's all complicated. But at that very moment, she hears 2 people talking, and one of them claims that he has heard about the aristocrat's winter plant. The young lady immediately grabs the guy by the collar and asks what he said, as well as the plant, or this aristocrat winter. At this time, the young man only asks to let go of his hand because the girl is about to break it, but Letty only screams for him to speak quickly, after which the guy claims that his name was Clive Winterlock Wayne. Is this girl in her right mind? And what has gotten into her? Oh. And the other guy says that maybe she really is crazy. The main character at this time remembers the name Ailia Winterlock, and he understands that at the end of the abyss, the main character belongs to this family with whom the crown prince is madly obsessed. So it turns out that this person, he is the only and beloved brother of Ailia Winterlock, whom Gerard got rid of. And his name is Clive Winterlock. The main character loved her brother very much, and the crown prince, deciding that Clive could become a hindrance between him and Ailia, sends him away under the pretext of creating a collection about monsters. So at the very beginning of the work, he falls into eternal sleep during a battle with a monster. And the main character is shocked to realize that this is the first handsome man she has seen in 3 long years, and she also wonders if he will really fall into eternal sleep like this. After which, the girl claims that she also wants to apply, and understands that she will not allow this to happen. At this time, the village elder screams out that this is not it, and much time later, someone already announces the conditions of the hunting tournament. After a free and independent hunt in the forest closer to sunset, everyone must bring attributes from different monsters, and the one who brings the most will be considered the winner. By the way, they must hunt alone, and attributes obtained with the help of other people will not be counted, after which the hunters leave. The Duke remembers how the lady looked at him and thinks who this girl is. After all the participants are clearly wary of her, and how can she go hunting with such an old axe? It's impossible, but he still understands that the results will make everything clear. A little while later, one of the hunters asks the other if he really brought 3 items. At this time, Wayne also comes up to them and throws a bag on the floor and also says how tired he is. The boy tells his name, and the headman's son says that the hunter has excellent abilities. After all, the horns belong to a 3rd-level monster, and since the magic stone is in an inconvenient location for the hunter, this monster is most often simply beheaded. One of the judges at this time says that his colleague should write this down. He also turns to the gentleman and says that the hunter brought 5 different types of attributes, and he has the largest number of them among all the participants so far. After which someone says what he thinks about her, they have made their choice, but at the same moment the main character tells them to get out of the way. The girl puts a bag with various attributes on the floor, which surprises everyone, and Wayne asks if she was really that serious about it, to which the girl replies, of course. After all, such a chance rarely presents itself. The young lady then looks at the Duke and then wonders what kind of look this is, after which he realizes that he doesn't like her aura, because next to her he feels like the prey of a wild animal. The guy also doesn't understand what she's thinking about right now, but in fact, the young lady is just thinking how handsome he is. At this time, someone else approaches his lordship and states that the hunter who has just arrived is named Ella Rain. As he himself sees, she has incredible skills, and they say that she understands the characteristics of the monsters that live in these areas better than anyone else. One of the judges says that it is clear from the catch that she is no slouch, although he is concerned about the girl's character. After which, the man asks how many types of attributes the girl brought, and the guy answers that 5 types. Then the judge claims that Mariah Wayne had the same number of attributes, and if he had to choose, then the one who came first would be better. The main character then turns to her colleague in shock and asks if he also brought 5 types. The guy replies that after all they are offering 500 gold, so he took it very seriously. The young lady thinks what a slow-witted fool he is, but she certainly won't be chosen as a guide anyway. But then they hear some kind of scream and are shocked to realize that a monster of enormous size has come there. One of the judges tells them to clear the space, but suddenly turns his attention to the young lady and turns to her, asking why she is standing there like a dead horse, and to run away. The girl only smiles after this and says, "What kind of perfect timing is this? But what if she puts him into eternal sleep? That first place will be hers." Gara is a level 2 monster, and the girl says that, judging by the fact that she can't see the magic stone, he has it well hidden. After which the monster attacks the lady, but she deftly dodges, after which she jumps up and speaks. "That first you have to chop off his head." Well, when the young lady jumps on him and swings, the monster suddenly spits acid. The main character jumps back and says how troublesome he is, and it won't be possible to finish him off quickly. At this time, one of the knights asks if they shouldn't help, but the other replies that they will only hinder her. Well then, the guy says that after all, Rain has never fought against a Gara. The Duke at this time thinks that it turns out that this girl is an ordinary hunter, and there is nothing to be done, after which he takes out his sword and says that a squad of knights will have to intervene in this matter. Well, at that very moment, someone turns to him and shouts for the gentleman to wait, and look there. After all, the monster is about to spray acid in their direction. The main character then turns to the Duke, and she understands that if she avoids it now, this beautiful flower behind her back will suffer, so she immediately throws down her axe and claims that she will not allow this to happen. The people behind her are surprised by this, and the girl at this time turns to Wayne and asks him to lend her his sword. The guy is surprised after this and asks what she wants, but the young lady repeats again that he should give her his sword, after which the young man says how heartless she is and throws his sword. The lady immediately picks it up, after which he again heads towards the monster, and with one precise blow separates its head from its body. The Duke looks at this in surprise, and the young lady only drives the sword into the ground and says that, fortunately, the sun has not yet completely set, so they will think that the victory is hers. A little while later, everyone is sitting in the tavern, and someone asks them if Ella Rain has really been chosen after all. Another man replies that of course, and wonders if he even saw the attributes that she brought, because there were first-level attributes, and this girl scares him. Someone else says that this is not the first time, and wonders where Rain is now. The other guy replies that she was called to the inn where the Duke was staying, and there were 500 gold coins at stake, so those people were also serious. The guy then says that the girl will soon leave, so he feels sad, and even though she is crazy, she has saved them from danger many times, and even literally saved them today. Everyone owes her a little, and it's going to be lonely without this lady, while the other guy wonders if everything will be okay. His friend wonders if the guy is worried about Ella Rain, but he says no and not about her. After all, the Duke met her for the first time. The main character is at the Duke's door at this time, and she understands that she will finally be able to see him up close, and he is now her favorite. The blonde is sitting next to the axe at this time and looking at it. He remembers how the lady asked him to look after it while she was inside, and let him be careful because sometimes this axe moves by itself. A little while later, another servant approached him, and he asked what was wrong with his face, but the blonde only asked if he could replace him at his post, if he was not busy at the moment. His colleague replied that it was no problem, but asked why he was so pale, and also asked where the hunter was, after which he replied that she was inside, and the main game did not open the door at the same moment. She looks at the man in front of her and thinks it's Clive, but when she looks at his face, she is disappointed. The man asks what kind of look this is, and the young lady asks what is wrong. She understands that she thought she would meet the Duke, but her eyes almost fell off. The girl was in such a hurry to get there, and there sits this boor. Her interlocutor at this time thinks that he does not like the aura of this girl, so he needs to keep her at a distance from the Duke. The man claims that it is time to get down to business, and he called her there to tell her her purpose in this expedition. The lady's task is simple. She only needs to direct them to the places where monsters most often live, and that's all. They will fight the monsters themselves, and she will wait until they finish, after which the young lady will be surprised. And in shock, she cries out, "What does it mean to wait?" And also, shouldn't she fight with them? The man replies that the order was given only to the Duke and his knightly squad. It was also said that they could choose their own guide, but there were to be no casualties unrelated to this mission. So said his lordship, and he wishes to do his duty himself. The young lady then understands the reason. It was not for nothing that she considered it strange, because even if the campaign is the plan of the Crown Prince, then Clive is the Duke of this country. The entire plot is built according to the author's idea, and if everything goes as in the original, then Clive Winterlock is destined to plunge into eternal sleep. The girl at this time says that nothing can be done, and since it comes to that, she will protect the Duke at all costs. The man then screams in shock, asking what she was talking about, and the young lady tells him not to worry, because no monster that appears on their path will dare to breathe the same air as their Duke. So let this plot go to hell. The man at this time understands that in fact this girl is crazy. At this time, one of the servants greets His Highness. The blonde says that he thinks the guy came to him for no reason, to which the servant replies that yes, there is news concerning the Duke of Winterlock. He was informed that he had hired a hunter from a village located near the Aunton forest. The blonde then says that something seemed to have happened to them recently, and he is worried about the Duke, and the servant replies that there was one incident, but he already knows that the Duke is not a well-liked person, and most likely he needed a guide to speed up the search for monsters. His Highness claims that the Duke was always distinguished by his wit, and that he almost regretted sending him there. But since everything is fine with him, he can be calm. The service after this says that nothing can compare to the good nature of His Highness. And the Crown Prince says that if the Duke is now in the forest, he will very soon reach the border. The servant replies that yes, and it will take 3 days, after which Gerard says that here's how, and henceforth the guy can report to him about the Duke. Then he hopes that he has not bothered him with his request, and was just a little worried about that. That is why he asked to find out. The knight then says that he did not doubt His Highness's intentions, and that he would beat him, after which His Highness says that the boy has done a good job, and can now go, and the knight says goodbye to him. After he leaves, the prince changes to pour out. He also remembers how the knight saying goodbye to him wished his highness health. But then he tells him not to make him laugh. At this point, someone else turns to the crown prince and claims that this is just a normal farewell formulation. Such wishes are considered a manifestation of the subject's loyalty to their emperor. The man then says that this old man has very little time left. So what kind of health can we talk about? And only thanks to his current condition, the guy was able to take this place. So all that was left for him to do was to get Ailia, and to do that, he just needed to get rid of the duke. His interlocutor at this time claims that the duke is stupid after all, because if he had quietly and silently handed over his little sister to him, he would have been able to save his insignificant life. Gerard then sighs and says that he doesn't know, because even in that case, he would still have executed him one day. After which, he also offers to tell them how things are at the border, because very soon the duke's grave will be there, and they must not disappoint him. His interlocutor claims that although he has become more ferocious lately, it will not give him anything, because no matter how strong a fighter he is, he will not get out of there alive. After all, there are monsters there that react to the smell and human breath, so the guy doesn't have to worry. Gerard claims that he's glad to hear that, after which, with a smile on his face, he asks when their dear duke will fall into eternal sleep. After all, he so wants to start comforting his Ailia as soon as possible. The main character at this time checks her bag and realizes that she took spare clothes and money. The girl says that this is great, after which she also looks at the medallion and realizes that she also had this. This thing belonged to the original owner of her body, so she is interested in what it is for. The girl also puts it in her bag and thinks that she will find out someday, after which she puts this bag over her shoulder. And he says it's time to hit the road. Well, when the lady goes outside, she sees a mountain of gifts. She asks what it is. Wayne replies that it is a gift from the locals. The village chief, meanwhile, says, with tears in his eyes, that their prized hunter is leaving them. And the main character, a little surprised, says that she thought that no one liked her in this village. The blue-haired boy only smiles after this and claims that he knew it. A little while ago, a girl was dragging a guy and saying that along the way, she picked up an idiot whose head was almost bitten off by monsters. Wayne asks if the lady remembers this, and this is not an isolated case, because the girl has helped many in various difficult situations, and all the villagers are grateful to her. The young lady understands that since she could disappear at any moment, leaving no trace, she had no intention of establishing any connections or relationships with the people of this world. However, she had overlooked something, and trying to stay alive in this world could affect the lives of others. These changes did not pass her by, after which the main character says, "That's how it is," and then hugs Wayne and thanks them all. And also with tears in his eyes, he says that he hopes that they will see each other soon, and promises that he will definitely return. But this is all only in the guy's thoughts, because the girl is now saying goodbye to them with simple words. The guy with blue hair asks if this is all, and wonders where the hugs are, as well as the bitter tears. The blonde tells him not to make a fuss, because before he can blink, she will already be here, so such farewells will only embarrass them both. Wayne asks if she really thinks so, and he's not sure because he doesn't think the girl will be back anytime soon. And it's not just him who thinks so, but everyone else too, because he has a premonition that they won't see her for a long time. A little while later, the young lady is already heading off in the carriage and wondering why the hell he said that. And did he really understand that she was leaving for the Duke of Winterlock? The girl also wonders what the point of this trip is, and because of that guy, she can't really do anything, and the girl also thinks, why is he so huge? Rain thinks that he thinks he's a manager, and it really pisses her off, but then the girl thinks the same thing. What are they talking about so seriously? A little while later, they are all already pitching their tents. The young lady looks around and realizes that the trees seem to be covering them well, but when she turns to the other knights, they only turn away, and the young lady understands that they are clearly not happy to see her. This is not simple disdain, but rather a hostile attitude, but the girl thinks that she doesn't care, because she never intended to be friends with them. At this time, someone else addresses the young lady, and it turns out to be a knight of the Winter Company named Ralph. The girl then says that she is actually already 20, but the guy only says that his name is Ralph Haugen, and he is 40. The young lady then agrees that he can call her whatever he wants. She won't go against that, although she adds in her thoughts that together with her past life, she is already 30 years old. The guy then claims that he was extremely surprised by the situation related to Gare and wonders if he can ask him a couple of questions regarding this topic. He wanted to ask what the method was to destroy such monsters, what other monsters were there, and whether there were any endemic species of monsters that only existed on the western border. After all, they say that some monsters have bad eyesight, so he asks how bad it is, or if they can't see anything, after which he also adds whether the girl can tell about the psyllium, and whether it is necessary to immediately run away from it, or slowly, and also what she knows about other species. The main character then realizes that she is screwed. A little while later, she tells him about it, and the guy writes it down, after which he asks another question about monsters. But the young lady only mentally asks him to shut up and wonders how long they have been hanging around there, and she was wondering why he spoke to her. At this time, someone else addresses the huntress, and the main character turns to God and says that he sent the Savior a million centuries later, and he will also pay her back for this. She also asks why he came so late, and whether he could have done it earlier, but the man replies that he thought she was having an interesting conversation and did not want to disturb her. Rain also wonders what happened, because she thought that he would never speak to her again, to which he replies that he didn't want to, but had to. His lordship invites the girl to dine together, which surprises the young lady. And then she wonders with admiration if she will really have dinner with the Duke a little while ago. When the man addressed the Duke, he cried out that he swears this girl is crazy, after all the last time he spoke to her alone, but she spoke using some strange and incomprehensible words. She is an ordinary conductor, so it is unlikely that she will have any business with the Duke, but let him still be wary of her. The man then tells the servant to watch his words, because even if she is an ordinary hunter, she is the one who must help them in this mission. At this time, someone informed his lordship that there was an open clearing nearby, so it would be a good idea to build a pass there. Then the man said that they would stop today in this clearing and ordered them to prepare for the night. Also looked at the young lady and claimed that he would invite the huntress to dinner today. His assistant then cried out in shock, asking why, and the Duke replied that her help in this expedition was irreplaceable, so he wanted to show her respect. The man then mentally asked his lordship not to do this, and doubted that this lady was even familiar with dining etiquette, or even the word itself. Well, when the young lady is having dinner, she shows very good etiquette, and the brunette asks if she has studied etiquette, to which the girl replies, of course. The man then asked where she learned this, since etiquette is something that aristocrats learn, and it is unlikely that an ordinary huntress would have such an opportunity. The girl then thinks that everything is so, after which she claims that she learned etiquette by reading novels, but then claims that she wanted to say that Baron Bakram taught her because she had the chance to eat with him, and then he taught her. The girl understands that on that day, she ate her fill for the first time, and today she was able to eat normally. And of course it is so because it pleases the eyes, so everything seems tasty and sweet. The Duke's assistant at this time is sure that this girl is thinking about something indecent. The girl then claims that the captain told her that she could not participate in the hunt, to which the guy replies that yes, they had originally planned to choose only a guide for themselves. But he will be grateful if the young lady tells the knight who walks with a notebook about the ways to destroy monsters. The girl wonders if he is talking about that crazy one, after which she says that it is a bit tiring, but so be it. And she also wonders if she can also participate in the monster hunt. Before arriving there, Clive was given one piece of advice. This is not a contract concluded by hunters on a temporary basis, because they can become lazy and do nothing, so a contract can be concluded with them only in a specific situation. However, Ella Rain was very enthusiastic about everything, even though he didn't expect it from her. She's a bit strange, but it seems they chose a great hunter. After which, the man says that he understood her. However, this is by no means an easy question that can be resolved so quickly, since she has nothing to do with their mission. But the young lady asks in what sense, since her role in this mission is obvious. The main goal is to prevent him from falling into eternal sleep, as well as to protect him from everything that can harm him. The man is only surprised by this, and the Duke is no less, after which he asks in surprise if she is really talking about him. And the girl replies that she will protect him from monsters, even if she has to sacrifice her life. But the Duke then wonders why this is being done, and his assistant at the same moment moves away from the table and screams at the girl not to make him laugh. After all, she kept repeating the same thing. But what right does she have to say that? And she only met their Duke recently. After which, the man also shouts that he himself will protect him, just as the captain of the Winter Squad will protect his master. So let the girl know her place. The young lady just screams, "What kind of nonsense is he talking? And has he ever fought a monster one-on-one because he can't even imagine how hard it is to hunt first-level monsters?" The man just screams for her not to cause nonsense, because the girl only knows how to fight monsters. Rain replies that she doubts his skills, given the existence of flying monsters, but he replies that he will learn how to hunt them and will protect the Duke himself. But the young lady then asks who will tell him how to destroy the monsters. The man only cries out how she takes him, and the Duke then sighs and turns to both of them, after which he claims that he is able to protect himself and does not need their help. The main character at this time thinks that the Duke is sweet even when he is angry, and the commander of the knights understands that his master does not lose his manliness even when he is angry. The brunette at this time claims that the dinner is over and they can go free. The man is only happy after this, and the young lady's face is like, well then the Duke says that River can also leave. When the two leave, they are still exchanging sharp words. The Duke, left alone, sighs, and he thinks that it was as if a typhoon swept through the room, and after that day, nothing like that happened again. One day the boy was sitting next to his father, and his father turned to him and told him to keep their traditions. He also defended his honor, did not show his weaknesses to others, and hid his feelings. After all this, is the only way he can protect this family and his little sister. The man told him to remember this and never forget, but the guy agreed. At the age of 15, the young man said goodbye to his father. After hearing his last insistence, and not forgetting his father's words, he hid his feelings and tried in every way to protect the family. 12 years passed, and Clive Winterlock turned into a man with a whistle of the Winter Duke. All his life being the head of the Winterlock family, he hid his feelings well, and it even became habitual for him. Rain appeared before him. Now the man asks who she is, and this girl is a person who is capable of turning his usual life upside down. A little while later, someone tells the Crown Prince that there is more and more news that the monsters have become more aggressive and are attacking people more often. News of this comes every day, and many of these monsters are coming to the western borders. The blonde then tells the guy to bring all the documents regarding this problem, because he will personally review them, to which he agrees. The man then turns to the young lady and claims that he made a mistake, because he should not have listened to his report in her presence. He also tells Ailia not to worry, because the imperial family will do everything they can to help the Duke. Winterlock's deputy. But the boy approaches the young lady and says that the Duke of Winterlock will return soon, so let the young lady not worry. The girl only gets embarrassed and then moves away, and asks His Highness for forgiveness, because she is not feeling well, so she better go. The man then says that he should not have detained her, and asks how the lady is doing. After all, if she was so ill, then he would send her an imperial physician. But the girl replied that no matter what, everything would pass if she had a good rest. The blonde then smiles and says that it will be good. Then he will order her carriage to be prepared and let the girl have a good rest, after which the young lady moves on, and His Highness, watching her, only smirks. Ailia Winterlock was very wise, but also weak, so one piece of bad news could have a profound effect on her. At this time, the girl is in the Duke's estate and looks at the teddy bear that her brother gave her. But then she hits this fluffy guy and screams that she is the deputy of the Duke of Winterlock. The girl also asks this freak why she has to repeat it so many times. At this moment, the butler approaches the lady and claims that he has brought her tea. The girl drinks it immediately, after which she claims that she will immediately head to the office, because she will not allow their family to fall because of such a trifle. And after she finishes her business, she will write a letter to her brother. And if he dares to fall into eternal sleep, there she will dig him out of the ground, fall into eternal sleep, and bury him again. Butler claps his hands and claims that this is an excellent idea. Ailia, who was considered weak by society, was actually quite strong, which is why little Clive had to be stitched up more than once. At this point, the Duke puts his hand on his heart and says that he has some kind of bad feeling. The main character at this time is riding on the end of the cart, together with the knights who are writing everything down, and he is interested in how to destroy this monster, and the girl having already stopped resisting claims that his magic stone is hard to notice, so we need to cut off his head. Well then, the young lady suddenly notices how the other knight looked at her with pitying eyes. The guy turns around at the same moment, but the young lady realizes that there is something strange there. After all, these people treat her as if she were invisible, and maybe it's all because of her background, but that's too much. After which, the main character turns to Hugin and claims that she has a question for him. The man then, with a smile on his face, invites her to ask about everything. And the main character claims that, unlike some, she does not intend to drive a person into eternal sleep with her questions. And then he wonders if there is someone among their people who was betrayed by the hunter. Another knight is trampled by water at this time, and the man with the notebook claims that he did not hear anything like that. The girl continues her questions and wonders if some hunter mistook one of the knights for a monster and tried to hunt him. The man replies that it sounds terrible, and after this, the young lady cries out, "Why then does everyone dislike hunters?" Hogan asks what she's talking about, and the young lady replies that she doesn't really care about the people around her, but she did notice a strange atmosphere in the squad. After all, these people don't just ignore her, they demonstratively avoid her. The man then says that it's a misunderstanding. It's not that the knights don't like her, but rather. But at that very moment, someone screams that there is a monster there. The main character is surprised by this, and the knights scream that it is a flying monster. So let everyone prepare their bow and arrows, after which they do so, but they miss. The man with the notepad tells the lady that this is a level 1 flying monster, and the young lady replies that it is true, and his name is Quarry. The commander of the knights at this time turns to the huntress, and he screams how they can destroy this monster. The girl replies that first they need to lower it to the ground and then destroy the magic stone, and there are stones on both sides of the wings. However, it will be difficult to hit them with arrows, so you have to climb on it and tear off its wings. The man then claims that they will lure him closer to the ground, after which he screams for the knights to use arrows to lure the monster. He also addresses Rain, but when he turns around, he sees that the cart is no longer there. At this time, the girl screams for everyone to keep their positions. At this time, Hogan tells the lady that this is very strange and asks if this is true, and the young lady replies that it is the quarry who never come down from their mountains. The girl also tells Hogan to get there faster, her to their squad, because she needs to climb on this monster when it flies closer, after which the man agrees, and also tells the child to hold on tighter. And then the main character understands that this monster will come down and repent, but she also curses and says that she hasn't gotten there yet, after which the monster lands, and the young lady immediately jumps out of the carriage and then extends her hand to him. She immediately grabs this monster by the paw and climbs on it. The girl understands that first she will cut off one wing and does so. When the monster starts to fall, the young lady thinks that it's great because he's starting to land and she needs to jump off before he hits the ground. Then the young lady looks at the path ahead but is shocked. At this time, the knights ask if it is of a different order. The guy the monster landed next to replies that he is also completely fine because the huntress arrived on time. The man then says that this is great and they need to join her quickly, but at that very moment someone shouts out to the captain. After which, breathing heavily, he claims that they have a problem because another quarry has appeared there, and the Duke wanted to protect them, so he decided to distract him from the squad. Now the main character sees that the Duke is fighting another monster, after which she cries out to him. The young lady understands that the novel does not describe when and under what circumstances the Duke fell into eternal sleep. However, it was written that he said goodbye to life on his mission shortly after he received the order, and the young lady realizes that it happened right there in the canyons of Nifol. Now the young lady wonders if there is another monster there, but realizes that it doesn't matter now. After which she wonders why the Duke is standing there all alone. The young lady then screams at him and jumps off her monster and onto the other one. The man then wonders if it is a huntress or a young lady who jumped on the monsters. In shock, she says that she almost kicked the bucket, after which she turns to the Duke and sees that he is no longer there. She also says that she doesn't understand and asks where he is, after which she looks at the other wing, and she realizes that the Duke is there. She addresses him informally and tells him to hold on tighter and not to move. The girl also wonders what would happen if something happened to him, People also claim that it is dangerous and wonders why he is climbing. Well, the brunette turns to the huntress and claims that he has been training with knights for a long time, and as he already said, he does not need her protection. The young lady then only curses and understands that in the original plot, he is destined to fall into eternal sleep. The guy then says that of course she is more experienced, so he should follow her instructions. But he's not going to dump everything on her and hide like a coward because she's there because of their mission. So he can't let her fall into eternal sleep. At this time, the main character extends her hand to him in response and says how noble he is. And he is also so handsome, so this is embarrassing. The girl also says that it is great and invites him to do it together. After all, first they need to attach themselves to the wings and cut them off so that the monster falls to the ground. She also claims that she will not repeat herself, so let Winterlock listen to her carefully. She will give him a sign, and at that moment, you need to tear off the monster's wings, and he may fall, so let him tie his hands to them, and before they hit the ground. Then let him do a somersault to land softer, and preferably not look down. The man then just sighs and says that she didn't have to, but when he looks at the expression on the young lady's face, he nods and says that he understands. The young lady then says okay and let him be careful. Then she starts counting, and at one point they cut off both wings. The monster then starts to fall, and then they land. When the stones are broken, the Duke finally sighs, but at that very moment, the knights run up to him and turn to him with concern. The captain asks his lordship for forgiveness because he should not have left him alone, but the brunette claims that he did everything that depended on him because thanks to him, the squad remained unharmed. The knight almost cries from this, and the Duke at this time says that he wants to ask the captain something. Then he immediately claims that he is listening, after which the man asks if he really seems so weak. The captain is only surprised by this and wonders what he is talking about, after which the Duke only says that it is nothing and suggests that he forget about it. A little while later, the man finds himself in his room and says that he is so tired. He then sits down on the bed, but then looks at the book on the table. He remembers the Emperor's words that he should write an encyclopedia about monsters, including those species about whose destruction nothing is written, and he must describe absolutely all species. The guy also remembers how his sister asked if the Emperor was really offering him to learn about the way to destroy all the monsters, and how this was even possible, since His Highness was simply sending him into eternal sleep. Now the man understands that Ailia was right, because it is practically impossible. However, he also remembers the young lady and wonders if this is really the case, after which the brunette goes out into the corridor and screams asking where River is. The captain immediately approaches his lordship and asks what happened, but the brunette only claims that they need to rewrite the contract. A little while later, the main character reads this contract and wonders if this means that he wants her to do more than just her duties as a conductor, but also training knights, to which the guy replies, yes, if she is a knight. Their squad will cope better and without losses. Perhaps it is not advantageous for her to reveal her exceptional skills, so they will raise her bet double. The young lady is silent for a while after this, but then claims that it is not worth it, because after today's situation, she herself thought that the knights would have to be prepared. And by the way, she has already received payment for this. The Duke then wonders what she is talking about. The young lady thinks it suits her flower hairstyle with bangs down. Clive at this time says that in general, if the girl agrees, then let him sign the contract in this place, because they will start training as soon as they arrive at the border. The young lady then signs. The commander addresses his lordship, after which he states that they will have to postpone their training. After all, he was sorry to report this, but the knights had not yet accepted her as a member of the squad. The man also claims that he has already given orders for them to stop behaving like this. But after this situation, the young lady is thinking about what situation he is talking about. And then he screams out, "Did the man really give them such an order?" But she thought that he told them that the young lady was abnormal, so they should not approach her, after which he screams out that of course not, because he is not that shameless. The commander of the knights claims that as long as he is the captain of this squad, he will not allow any of them to treat others with disdain, even if it concerns the huntress, and this time he will give them time to realize everything themselves. The young lady is silent for a while after that, but then he claims that it is commendable because he behaved like a squad captain, But the man screams that he is the squad captain. But why the hell is he arguing with her again? The young lady at this time claims that there are no problems no matter how they treat her. This will not affect the training in any way, because she even thinks that she will miss her old days. A little while later, the young lady is again bombarded with questions, and the captain watches all this, after which he thinks that this is what she was talking about. He also approaches them and says that he was wondering why it was so noisy there. And it turns out that this huntress made a lot of noise there. The young lady asks what he is talking about and claims that she was actually silent. The girl asks if he sees how tired her ears are from this noise, and it seems to her that she is now listening to 10 wains at once. The girl already starts counting the monsters, and the captain only turns around after that. And he wishes her good luck, which only makes the girl angry and asks why he is so happy. The man then only tells the knights to stop messing around and return to their places. Hogan says that the captain is probably glad that she has started getting along with the knights. The young lady then says that this cannot be, and didn't he see that face a minute earlier? The girl also wonders what kind of misfortune this is, after which the man turns to her again and claims that he already told her that these people do not feel any hostility towards hunters, and the young lady wonders why then they had such an attitude towards her. The man replies that before she joined the squad, they already had a guide, and this is a man known for his research in the field of studying monsters, but he fell into eternal sleep on the way there. The main character wonders if this is really true. Hogan replies that yes, he too was plunged into eternal sleep for trying to take the Duke's life. The main character then understands why the knights looked at her like that and cut their hair. But the Duke could have fallen into eternal sleep twice before he even reached the border. After which the young lady says that this is how things are. But Hogan asks the child what happened. The girl replies that she thinks it will be quite difficult to protect Clive Winterlock. And now, having learned all this, she understands them because the knightly squad is very loyal to their duke. The man then replies that of course, and in general, their duke sometimes takes on too much and tries to do it all on his own. And with this task, it happens exactly the same way. That's why they all think every time. Why can't the duke close his eyes to all this? And why does he refuse to take the easy way, but always choose the difficult path of solitude? Standing behind the reliable back of their duke, they came to one conclusion, and that is that next to the Duke, there is a need for someone who could share this heavy burden with him. Before they went on the mission, the Duke had offered them several times to refuse the opportunity, but of course they did not. And they decided to take only one guide, after which the man asks if she knows why everything is like this. After all, this is the rule made to protect the people. However, many aristocrats do not adhere to his agents yesterday, almost sacrificed himself without thinking, luring the monster to himself in order to protect his knights. This incident taught them a lot, and all they understood was that in order not to drag the Duke down and not become a burden for him, they needed to become stronger. The young lady remembers how the man said that if the girl trained the knights, then in the future their squad would cope better and without losses. So now the young lady only remains silent, but then tells Hogan not to worry. After all, she will be with the Duke all the time, after which the man is only surprised by the lady's antenna and replies that they have signed a new contract, and as a connoisseur of beauty, she would never allow Winterlock to fall into eternal sleep. The man then asks what a connoisseur means, and the young lady replies that it is a kind of illness, and he asks if it is really impossible to cure. The girl replies that to do this she will have to gouge out her eyes, and Hogan is shocked by this. He thinks about a disease that can only be cured by tearing out the eyes, but at the same moment the knights turn to the huntress and say that they will soon arrive at the border. One of them says that when they arrive, let the huntress have a good meal, and another one asks if she took spare things with her, because if something happens, they will help her. And the girl then says that she is Rain, after which the knights are a little surprised. And the young lady tells them to call her by her name and not to forget that she has one. The guys are surprised after this, and then she says that it's good, because from now on they will only address her by her first name. Another one of them says that the girl is right, because it would be awkward to constantly call her a huntress, because they will be fighting together for a long time. Hogan asks if he can call her child as before, while the young lady replies that he still calls her that. While they were talking, the sound of a bell was heard from afar, because they had arrived at the border. A little while later, They find themselves in one of the rooms and looking at the other knights. At this moment, someone turns to his lordship, and the Duke puts his hand on his head and says that this is it, and that is what the Crown Prince wanted to achieve. Clive knew full well that investigating monsters on the western border was a dangerous mission, and even knew that he was sent there on purpose. But despite this, he tried as best he could, because he understood that the results of this research would benefit his country. So somebody had to do it, and that somebody was him. Clive convinced himself of these words. But when he read the report, he thought how strange it was. And could this really be a report from the border guards? The documents written in a hurry did not contain any valuable information. There was not a single line regarding monsters. And only now the guy realized that the report was written this way, not because the border guards themselves wanted it that way. Well, they didn't even have a choice. And now he understands what the imperial family means and was not going to help them in this mission. The Duke is also wondering what they should do in this situation, and the young lady claims that Gerard Aselanos has gone completely crazy. After this, everyone from there turns pale, and the young lady claims that she of course knew that he was not friends with his pumpkin, but she couldn't even imagine that it was so shocking that all the knights were shocked. And they think that they probably just heard it. It couldn't be that she was some kind of huntress. She dared to call the Crown Prince so disrespectfully, and even more so to insult him. Hogan immediately turns to the child, but the girl asks, "What is wrong?" After all, this crazy Crown Prince abandoned the border to its fate, which is why there is such a mess there, and the knights are shocked to realize that they did not hear correctly after all. The man with the notepad immediately turns to the child and says that she is insulting a member of the royal family. But the girl asks what difference does it make, because he is not there anyway, and she can let off steam. After which she turns to them and asks if they really don't do that, but they just remain silent and understand that, of course not. The commander of the knights at this time asks what she is talking about, but at that very moment, the Duke approaches the young lady, and then he turns to her and tells her that she better not express herself like that. The young lady is a little surprised by this, after which she starts screaming whether she is right or not, and wonders if anyone disagrees with her. The Duke then turns around and asks who is responsible, after which one of the knights says that it is him. He also asks to be allowed to introduce himself and claims that he is a captain of the border detachment, and his name is Edmund Jensen. The Duke also introduces himself and then asks if these are all the members of the squad. The guy replies that no, and currently several guys have gone to eliminate the monsters. Well, there are only 10 of them there. The man then realizes that the total number of border guards does not exceed 30 people. The man also wondered if it was possible to hunt monsters with such a small number of people, after which the guy apologizes for his frankness, but claims that it is physically impossible because they are simply checking the wall, and if it is destroyed, they are restoring it. The knight commander also claims that, fortunately, many of them have experience, so they hold on as best they can. And since the monsters there are most often not of a low level, they are constantly getting injured. But then the main character tickles the guy, and he quickly finishes his speech to those who are, why they have to run away from them. After this, the knight commander turns to the young lady and screams who she is. But the young lady only says that it is a pity. The guy screams, "Who is this pathetic guy? And is it really him?" But he is actually training and trying his best. The main character wonders what he is talking about, because she is talking about the state of the armor and weapons. She also asks if they bought it with their own money, to which he replies that it was from a delivery. Rain asks if they have thought about getting something new, to which he replies that they have thought about it, but they don't have the money for it. The girl replies that he could sell attributes from monsters, and for that kind of money, they would easily afford a normal reduction. But the guy replies that the attributes that the border guards obtain are necessarily sent to the imperial palace. Rain claims that if they had taken a few for themselves, they wouldn't have even noticed, to which the knight replies that yes, and that's true. The young lady then says that in principle, there are no places to sell attributes there, and it's unlikely that traders would go there putting their lives on the line. Well, after that, the guy wonders who she is anyway. The young lady then points to herself and states that her name is Ella Rain. She is a monster hunter and a guide. It has been 3 years since she was worried about the death of which she is moving to their country. The girl understands that, although before that, how to get there, she just watched everything while eating popcorns. After which, the lady says that, to begin with, parallel to the son's description of the encyclopedia, they can take care of the state of the border, and they need to get money, repair everything there, and then buy new equipment. The girl also suggests improving the condition of this place, and of course, try to finish writing the encyclopedia as quickly as possible. Rain asks if everyone understands this, and in short, they have one goal. They will rip off the head of this crazy prince. Well, at that very moment, the lady doesn't finish speaking because someone covers her mouth and says that first, they will unload all their things. It turns out to be the Duke, and he tells the captain to show his knights to their rooms, after which someone turns to his lordship, but he says that they are free. They are a little surprised by this. And when they go out into the corridor, the Duke asks if Rain can help the Knight Miller, because if he needs her, he will call. The young lady then agrees, and then menacingly advances further. And the Duke remembers how the commander said that this girl is clearly abnormal. Now the brunette sighs and realizes that he was right. The main character helps with unpacking things a little later, and she wonders why everyone is behaving this way and whether she is wrong. Her colleague asks if she is really asking this seriously, and she was lucky that they were on the border and were far from the capital, otherwise and then all her descendants for 3 generations would be put in prison for insulting the imperial family. Well, at that very moment, someone asks if they are talking about insulting the imperial family, which makes the guy go into shock and screams. At that moment, another knight runs up to them and asks what happened, after which he sees another guy in a cart and wonders if this is Mr. Magician. The main character then asks if this is really a magician, and another knight asks why he was riding in a cart with things, and wasn't he in another one? The guy replies that the cart left and different knights came out of nowhere, so he found himself trapped. And he had to get into this carriage, after which the knight says that this is how it is, and the main character once again asks who it is. Her interlocutor replies that he is a mage named Lance Fort, sponsored by the Duchy of Winterlock. So he also took part in this expedition and is treating the squad. The guy then only says that the magic cure for injuries has already become so boring for Imaso, and he has already made 1802 bottles. He strokes the magician's head and says what a great guy he is. The main character then also turns to him and says that she has a request, after which she asks if he can do something for her. The guy then says yes, with a smile on his face. And the young lady claims that she hasn't even said what she wants from him yet, after which the guy says that if it's something new, then he'll agree to anything, just so long as it's not a magical cure. The young lady then says that it is good and shows what she needs. A little while later, the girl is already standing in front of the knights, and she is about to say something. The magician hides behind her back, at this time, after which the young lady greets the knights. And she also says that as some of them have already heard training begins today, where she will teach them to resist monsters. The girl claims that her name is Ella Rain, and she is a monster hunter, and under contract with the Duke, she will have to train them. The young lady claims that their tears will not roll concrete, let them squeeze everything out of you without a trace. And this guy will help her with her training, one of the knights, then asks if this is really Mr. Mage, and the other one claims that he sees him for the first time. The young lady tells them not to come near. He also claims that today they will learn some methods of confronting monsters, and asks if they have seen a horror or an armadillo. These are creatures that attack with the return of their hard shell, after which the young lady turns to the master magician, and he uses his staff, after which a ball appears behind them, which seems to be moving. The young lady at this time turns to the knights and tells them to destroy him now. The ball then begins to roll at high speed, and the knights run away screaming. The magician then tells them not to worry, because if this ball touches a person, it will disappear. Razor asks if this is really so, and wonders if it was not possible to say it right away. Well, his interlocutor replies that sometimes it doesn't disappear and can spin for a very long time. At this time, the main character says that in the worst case, she will destroy him before he gets to them. And these monsters have a magic stone on their forehead, so it's hard to miss. It's right between their pointed ears, and you have to climb up and hit it right there. But one of the knights then says that this ball is spinning, and how can they destroy the magic stone? The young lady replies that you just need to hit it well and shows that it's all that simple. But the knight doesn't really understand. The girl replies that the specimen that is chasing them has a mark instead of a stone, so she hopes that they will figure out where to strike. But the knight cries out that even with a magnifying glass, you can't see this mark. The girl replies that Hor will not spare them only because they have strategic vision, after which the guy screams in shock. And the young lady claims that today the training will be unlimited, that is, it will last until they cope. The knights then realize that they are finished. A little while later, one of them is barely breathing, and the other is running away from this stone. The captain, who is sitting with the Duke, wonders what is going on there. But at the same moment, the Duke turns to him and claims that he has read the report, which he sent him, but it was full of misunderstandings. The guy then asks for forgiveness and claims that he had never written reports before. But the man asks if he doesn't report the state of affairs to the imperial family, reports to anyone, and he tried as best he could. But apparently, this is not enough, and he asks to forgive him. The Duke then asks how long he has been the captain of the border detachment, to which he replies that it's about 4, which makes the man surprised and wonders if the previous captain has really left his position. The guy then says that, in fact, a monster broke in there, and unfortunately, an instant immersion into eternal sleep occurred. Since he was the deputy, the role of captain automatically passed to him, and there was a lot to do, so he could not write it all down in the report. The brunette then asks how often monsters get in there, but the guy just shakes his head and claims that before that incident, this had never happened. He has been there for a long time and knows the habits of monsters well, but only recently the monsters began to behave so aggressively. The Duke then says that he must have suffered a lot, but the captain replies that everything is fine. After all, the situation at least improved a little, after which they both looked out the window, where the young lady shows how to defeat this monster. But the knights, after a long run, are not shining with enthusiasm. The Duke at this time looks at the young lady and then thinks what would have happened if she were not with them. They might not have even reached the western border, like Togo, and some people in the imperial castle wish, but it is only thanks to rain that they are there. After which, the Duke turns to the captain and states that he will order new equipment for the border guards. They should also start repairing the building as soon as possible, because it is unknown when the monsters will decide to attack again. The guy understands that he must do everything possible that depends on him, and then he states that after lunch, they will have a meeting regarding their budget. A little while later, they are already in the border zone conference room, and the main character wonders why she was invited there, after which the man replies that she is their guide, so it wouldn't hurt for her to be aware of some details. The main character realizes that she does not like meetings and remembers her past life. At this time, someone asks how much money they have set aside to buy equipment. The captain replies that they do not have a specific amount, and of course there is a small budget that comes from the imperial family, but all these savings go towards food and the restoration of the walls. The young lady then screams, "Do they really not even give them money properly, and are they really brainless?" The Duke claims that additional income can be obtained through sponsorship, and any organization can request it, so the duchy will agree to their request. Well, the young lady objects after this and says that okay, they will set up this sponsorship. Well, what will happen next? Even if they want to buy equipment, there is no market or retail outlets there. The girl wonders if she is really not going to travel 30 lands to buy equipment, and let's say they decided to go. But carts with such things are sure to become the target of bandits. And to strengthen the protection of the carts, you will have to hire more people, and then you will also have to spend a lot on them. Even if you manage to successfully complete the transportation, then taking into account all the listed circumstances, it will take at least a month. So they need not only money, but also a place to spend it, and a place where they can both earn and spend at the same time. The brunette then thinks for a bit and asks if the lady has any suggestions. The girl replies that of course, and then enthusiastically suggests opening a black market. But she is the only one who is so enthusiastic about it, and the Duke in shock asks what she is talking about. The knight commander then asks if she is serious, but the girl asks what happened to his reaction. After all, this is the most effective method, but the man is interested in how she came up with such an idea. The blonde replies that through the black market, they will be able to sell attributes, and in addition to that, they will receive all the necessary things, after which the man asked to be allowed to ask if she even knows that the black market is illegal. The young lady notes that of course she has been a hunter for many years, and how could she not know this? But now they are not in a position where they can find fault with whether it is legal or not. And for example, the claws of quarry, whom they put into eternal sleep last time, can be sold on the black market for 500 gold. The more money they have, the better their equipment. And although this market is illegal, it is an effective way to earn money and fight monsters as effectively as possible. The young lady also wonders if this will help convince the Duke, after which he claims that everything she says is quite reasonable. And since things are going as badly as they can be, and the way to solve them, it's better for them to try, because many human lives are at stake. However, the guy understands that if rumors spread that the Duke is doing illegal things, then his people in the capital will be in danger, and then his family too. After which he claims that this option is still very risky, so he suggests thinking about it some more. The young lady then says that if they don't mind, she suggests opening a black market in her name. The guy then asks what she's talking about, and the young lady asks if it shouldn't be like that, since an aristocrat would open a black market in his own name. The captain then asks the silly girl if she understands what this means, because if something goes wrong, she will have to take full responsibility. The young lady notes that she has done a lot of illegal things, so there is no point in being afraid now. But the man just screams, "Is she really bragging about this?" The Duke then says that this would put Rain in great danger, and he would like to avoid everything. What could harm her? The young lady is then surprised, and the young lady claims that then it is even more necessary to open this market. After all, they have a choice between surviving on the border without having normal equipment at hand, or surviving with a necessary budget in reserve to afford everything they need. The girl asks which option he finds most acceptable, but the brunette only wonders why she is so desperate. However, then he interrupts his conversation, and he says that it's good, and also they will do as the lady says. But if something goes wrong, it's not like he'll help her get out of this. And it doesn't matter whether it's legal or not. After that, he smiles at the main character and says that they've reached an agreement. And also, tomorrow morning, she will send a letter to one place, and in 2 or 3 days, they will be able to open a black market. And then she, together with the goods and her favorite hatchet, will go to make a deal. One of the knights then asks why he would take an axe to the deal, and the girl says that it is a good question. And on the black market, there are several people ready to put her into eternal sleep at any moment. This is sort of a side effect that has contributed to the stability of prices on the black market, after which the Duke claims that he will accompany her. Well, the young lady claims that he will stand out, after which the guy says that he will put on a hood and try not to take it off. Rain thinks and understands that such beauty cannot be hidden under hoods, but still agrees. The knight commander heads down the corridor a little while later and just sighs. He realizes that this is an abnormal girl full of surprises, and remembers how she once said that although the black market is illegal, but this is the best option they have. And the man also understands that the girl is going to open this market in her name. He didn't think that the young lady would voluntarily get involved in such a dangerous matter. However, he had noticed it last time, that Rain is not a bad person, after which he also happens to be in the room to his lordship. But when no one answers, the guy is a little surprised, after which he goes into the room. However, at the same moment, he is shocked because he sees the Duke and the young lady very close. From the outside, it looks like they are kissing, and the man even screams. A little while ago, the knights were fighting a monster, and one of them screamed that there was no choice, so let them get ready to cut off the monster's head. Then someone screamed how they would cut off this thick neck. Well, his interlocutor screamed that the magic stone was hidden from their eyes. So all that remains is to behead the monster. The young lady then turned to Hugin, and she asked if she should go down with an axe. But the man answered Vitya that no, and that it was not her place to hunt yet. The young lady only got angry after this, and screamed that this was already their 6th raid, and she had not put a single monster into eternal sleep, so she wondered why it was impossible. Well, the man then asks what she thinks. Where is his magic stone? Because it seems to him that it is hidden somewhere on the transfer. The girl understands that it is in the right front paw, but she thinks how amazing this is, and maybe she should shout that she sees a magic stone. Well then, the lady understands that she will only make her situation worse, because last time there was a great commotion when she caught the monster alone. The girl also thinks why she can't take part in the hunt, because no matter how much she asks, she can't get a clear answer. After which, the young lady says that she cannot bear it any longer, and then throws down her axe altogether. It hits the stone straight away, after which the monster screams and falls. The girl then says that she was aiming for Temesco, but apparently luck smiled on her, because she landed right on the magic stone. One of the knights then cries out that the hunt is not over yet and asks where she is, but the girl replies that they can manage just fine without her. So let them continue in the same spirit. The young lady also understood that she needed to ask the Duke directly about this. At this time, the man was sitting in his office and filling out important documents. But at that very moment, the girl burst into his room, after which he shuddered. The Duke then asked what brought the girl there, but she replied that she would take part in the hunt. Clive replied that it was enough that she was doing her job as a guide, since they had enough free hunters. But the girl then screams that this is sheer nonsense. The young lady also points to the knights on the street, and he screams that a real nightmare is happening there. The Duke is only embarrassed by such closeness, and he understands that if you think about it, Rain has the same hair as the Crown Prince, although the aura around her is not as luxurious, but still there is some kind of warmth emanating from her. The main character then cries out to the Duke, but he only turns away and says that he refuses. The young lady asks why, after which the guy says that this is not the problem, and in general, he asks if she could move away. But at that very moment, the commander enters the room, after which these two turn to him, and he is shocked. He screams, "Is the girl crazy?" And he asks what she is doing, but she shouts that this is honestly a misunderstanding. Well, the commander screams that she just did it. The Duke then claims that there was a misunderstanding and nothing happened, and the young lady then hits the table and screams that, in any case, she will take part in the hunt. But the Duke replies that he does not, and the young lady cries out why else, to which he replies that they have enough men, and they need to gain experience, and if she trains them properly, they will hunt with ease, and she is there as a guide, so she should not participate in raids. Rain asks, since when did they become so law-abiding, and remembers that they recently decided to open a black market. The Duke then wants to say something else, but the young lady gets a little embarrassed, after which he turns around and says to hell with him. After all, she won't take part in the hunt, and generally says that it's unfair to use such a look against her or, well, in return, if someone is in danger, then she will interfere with it, regardless of all their rules. After which, the girl leaves, and the Duke, left alone, sighs. At this time, the captain says that he was racking his brains over why the lady was behaving like that, after which she offers the Duke to allow her to take part in the hunt, because then the girl will become a good example for the other guys. The brunette says that there is a grain of truth in the guys' arguments, but the lady is their only guide. The man also recalls how she said she would take part in the hunt, and then suggested opening a black market, and the way she addressed him recently. That's why the guy is a little embarrassed now, thinks that it is only for this reason. At the same time, in the village where Rain lived, someone asks Wayne if he has heard the latest news. The guy with blue hair asks what he's talking about, and whether he's really talking about the black market, to which he replies that he has an animal-like intuition, but he replies that he doesn't want to hear another word about the black market, because he's more interested in me. The other guy then says that he knows, because Wayne is a hunter who respects the law. After which the guy tells him to leave him alone. Well, his interlocutor asks if he isn't curious about what's going on with Ella Rain, after which the young man with blue hair asks what is wrong with her, and the other guy claims that there are rumors about it, that the girl opens a black market near the western borders. The guy is only surprised by this, after which he asks to tell him all the details, but his interlocutor asks why he would do this, because the desire to chat with the person who just drove him away completely evaporated. Wayne is silent for a while after that, and his interlocutor then says that, okay, he was joking too. As the guy himself knows, Rain doesn't make deals on the black market. Well, recently, rumors started to spread that she was selling quarry's claws. The guy with blue hair thought for a bit after that, and he understands that many will come running to get such a rare attribute, but if this happens, it will be a little bad, after which the guy with blue hair asks if he knows where it will happen. His interlocutor answers that they say it will happen on the other side of the border. Wayne, hearing this, immediately runs away and screams that he is approximately grateful. Well, and his interlocutor then asks where the guy is heading. He just runs as fast as he can and understands that he needs to hurry, otherwise Rain might get hurt. At this time, the main character is in one of the rooms, but at the same moment, someone comes to her and asks about her. What did she threaten the messenger with? The young lady asks what it is that they don't talk about from the doorway, and what kind of ridiculous questions are these? The girl asks if they talk about threats about the veterinarian. She didn't threaten anyone, but the guy only suggests that she not lie, because they chased her and took her message 2 days ago. And he wonders if she really believes that he managed to deliver her letter, having covered an unimaginable distance in just 2 days. So let the girl look at his sunken face because he lost half of his weight. The young lady then says that he is apparently a very talented messenger, but the captain only says how shameless she is. At this point, the messenger, with his last strength, hands over the letter and says that he has brought it. The captain then suggests that he not waste his strength on words because he needs to rest. The young lady then takes the letter in her hands and says that the guy has exceeded all her expectations, so he is a great guy. Well, the captain of the knights once again asks if the lady really threatened him with something, answers that no, and asks who they take her for. The blonde opens the letter and says that the letter did not come from a commoner, after which she claims that it is from Frost Irving, a fairly well-known figure in certain circles. And she also had occasion to meet him. In general, I received a response from him, and tomorrow night the black market will open its gates. River asks if the lady really managed to open this market with just one letter, and if Forrest Irving really helped. The girl replies that it wouldn't be difficult for him to open a black market, and he has a debt. The brunette wonders if this is connected with the price stabilization that she had spoken about earlier, and the young lady notes that one could say so, after which she says that as if nothing had happened, let them be prepared for tomorrow. They are setting out on their journeys. And when the young lady leaves, the Duke asks what clothes he would wear to go to such a place. The commander then suggests that his lordship go there himself. Well, the man replies that no, and this time he will go personally. The commander already wants to say that this is a crazy girl, but he still interrupts and asks if the Duke is worried about the people who have a grudge against Rain. The man replies that he is too, but he has another reason. After all, they have to hedge their bets just in case because the black market should be the only illegal thing they do. After which, he asks if the captain thinks that this girl will listen to him. The man then remembers how they don't get along and falls silent, but his master insists that they need to get ready. And he also thinks that the hood will be enough to hide his identity, so now he will go and check with the magician. The Duke also asks if the man knows where he is now. The captain replies that he is most likely in the research room in the basement, after which the Duke says that it is good, and he will be there soon. And the captain turns to his lordship with some surprise, after which they wonder if he is in a good mood. The next night, the main character stands opposite the Duke and looks him over, after which she asks what he is dressed up as. After this, the captain only gets angry and wonders why the girl addresses his lordship informally. Rain replies that he himself allowed it, but the captain says, what kind of senseless lie is this, because his lordship would never do this. However, the Duke claims that it is true. The man is shocked after this and tells the brunette that the girl would not address him as a duke in such a dubious place. And a man also understands that he likes it when a girl calls him informally. At this time, the main character is thinking about what to do, after which he tells the Duke to take off this ridiculous cloak with a hood. Otherwise, he will stand out even more. She also asks where he got it from, and the man replies that Max told him about the fact that he always goes to the black market in hoods. But the girl replies that, given his character, he would also appear at his own wedding in a black cloak with a hood. So it would be much better without him. But then the young lady picks up dirt from the floor, and he smears the guy's face with it, after which he claims that since he is a hunter, it won't be a bad idea to stamp dirt on his face. The man is only surprised by this, and a little while later, the girl finishes her work. She also says that the guy looks just like Cinderella. The young man is a little surprised by this, and Rain replies that since she anointed him in the mud, it turns out that she is his godmother. Although then she says no, and it's better for him to call her prince, after which the lady turns to the other knights and says that she thinks they are not ready. The girl also believes that Edmund does not need to dress up. The man then asks if she will hide her lig, to which she asks in response why she should hide. For she will not allow hunting to stain her garment, for she is above it. After which the young lady takes the bags in her hands and says that we need to head forward towards adventure. Then they head to the black market. The Duke, seeing all this, is a little surprised. One of the knights claims that he cannot believe it. Until recently it was deserted, but overnight everything was transformed. The man claims that it is amazing, and the young lady says that it seems he did not expect the scale to be so grand, to which he replies that there is such a thing. Well, then they also notice how other people look at the young lady, and the Duke asserts What surprises them more is her fame, after which the young lady says that they may not even remember her. The girl also says that first, they need to get everything they need, and the money they took with them will be left for the first payment. The man then asks if they should sell the attributes first, but the girl replies that only greenhorns do that, after which she also tells them to follow her because she will show them everything and also explain it. A little while later, they enter one of the stalls, and the girl asks for 30 vests made of Italy skins. The man wonders if she really needs 30, and she charges too much, so he wonders who she is going to sell it to, the girl, then asks what kind of grief this is for him and how much he is asking for it. The guy replies that he will give 30 pieces for 30 coins, but the young lady asks if he is joking. The man replies that he is gay, on the cheap, gives them away for next to nothing, and if she doesn't like it, then let her join and look elsewhere. The girl replies that, okay, she will do it, after which she tells Cinderella that they are leaving. The man cries out, does she really intend to leave, and let her name her price? The young lady then offers 17, and they haggle further, after which the man screams, what a pain she is, and he will sell it to her for 20, but nothing less, after which the young lady tells him to measure out 30 pieces for them. And when they leave, the man screams so that his eyes will never see this swindler again. At this time, the Duke wonders what the point is in this. Why did she suddenly start buying everything and then selling it? The young lady at this time only speaks of 3 gold pieces, after which the Duke is a little surprised. And the girl replies that they will sell their attribute, and these vests made of idol skin will go for 3 gold. After all, these people will get wind that they have some money and will double the price. But she had already been burned by this trick and learned a lesson. The girl also says that be that as it may, she suggests stocking up on weapons and traps for monsters, after which she tells Cinderella not to lag behind. A little while later, the young lady is already handing over coins to someone and claims that she will deliver the rest as soon as they receive the goods. The guy replies that they will send everything by tomorrow, but he wonders where they are ordering this to be sent, to which the young lady notes that it is to a hut on the road to the Knee-Foal Gorge between the border zone and the village. After this, the guy wonders if they really consider the Rock a gang of robbers, and he asks why she needs so many weapons, but the young lady looks at him coldly after that. The guy screams that whatever the reason it doesn't concern him, after which he wishes them a good evening. And the main character only says that this is how the curious barbarian's nose was torn off. At this time, the main character approaches her colleagues and tells them to take it easy because they can't hold such a heavy weight with their frail little hands. She also claims that everything seems to have been purchased, and all that remains is to sell the attribute, after which she tells Cinderella and Edmund to wait there, and she will go and make the deal. Clive then asks why the girl calls him Cinderella, whatever that means, but the girl replies that she cannot call him Winterlock and that it is his secret name. Well, the man then says that the name really sounds like a girl's name, and the young lady thinks that he is smarter than she thought. The guy then suggests calling him simply Clive instead. The young lady then becomes a little embarrassed, and she is about to call the guy by his name, but wonders if she can address the Duke by his name, after which she finally calls him and thinks what an unusual feeling she has, because when she called him Winterlock, there was no such strange feeling, and now she has such a feeling as if they have become closer. But she is quite happy with this, and the girl thinks that this is how she calls her favorite by name, and it is not surprising that some fans pit their idols against each other. After which the young lady says that he can also call her by name, or also states that she is gone, and they can follow but let them keep their distance. The girl also says that they better pretend that they have no idea who Ella Rain is, after which they move on, and at the same moment everyone is whispering whether this is the same Ella Rain. The Duke understands that this girl attracts the attention of everyone around her and finds herself in such a situation. She seems completely different from the one he knew all this time, because the Rain he knows is different. Well, then the guy also thinks that he won't fill his head with empty thoughts. Well, as he moves on, he suddenly hears someone angrily calling the young lady's name. The Duke then turns around, and the knight asks his lordship what happened, to which he replies that nothing, but then he also thinks who it is. And this man said the girl's name with obvious malice. He also recalls how one of the knights asked why she made a deal to take the axe, and the girl replied that it was a good question, her into eternal sleep at any moment. So now the Duke starts running and is very worried about the young lady. The girl at this time opens the bag, and she tells people to stand in line because she will sell it to the one who offers the highest price, and then she will ask who is ready to buy it. One of the guys shouts that if this is really a carpet claw, then he will take one for 20 hor, after which a crush begins. The young lady only wonders who they take her for, and do they really think she is a simpleton? Then the girl tells them not to even hope, but at that very moment, someone offers a bet of 1 gold coin, and he claims that he will buy everything for 1 gold coin, after which he also says that they finally met. But he was waiting for their meeting. The young lady is surprised after this, but still wonders who he is. After all, he doesn't look like a fellow villager, and then the girl starts listing some names. But then suddenly, he says that he is the impudent man who once challenged her. People in the crowd at this time say that the clothes and emblem look familiar, after which someone asks if he is from Gallus. The main character asks what it is. She also understands that about 3 years ago, shortly after Rain's miraculous transfer to this mysterious world, the girl burst into one of the eateries and asked if they were the notorious Gallus. After that, one of them asked what she was talking about, and the other told his brother. That is the same Ella Rain that everyone is gossiping about. The girl asked if they had really decided to plunge into eternal sleep and would rather rob honest people like dashing robbers. She then claims that in this rotten society, the only place for a fair price is the black market, but who are they to set prices as they please? One of them then asked what this crazy woman was babbling about, after which the young lady said that she had been stupid. After all, words are of little use with this rabble, so we will have to teach them some sense. She also wonders if there is an expert on the invisible hand among them. This metaphor is the creation of the great Adam Smith, who was a luminary of economics, and that's what it means in his mind. However, for Rain, it was not just a figure of speech, because her hand really could not be seen, as if it dissolved into thin air. And since there were no chopped-up bodies, there were no casualties. But terrible nightmares tormented the Gallus every night. Now the man claims that a lot of time passed, but they, having overcome the unfortunate hardships, managed to be reborn. Well, after this, the main character only tells him to stop his empty talk. But let him admit that after that skirmish order was restored on the black market, and they decided not to show up there, so she didn't break down and kept the agreement. The girl also says that it was a long time ago, so let him forget and stop trashing her name for no reason, because soon he will make a hole in it. The guy with purple hair then tells the girl to shut up and go there to dig carpets, because if she does so, he will generously close his eyes to her former tyranny against them. And of course, if it is a genuine attribute and not a pathetic fake. At that very moment, someone jumps on the young lady from behind, after which the guy claims that her last hour has come, because if she hadn't shown up there as he asked, then everything would have been fine with her. But at that very moment, the guy goes into shock, because the girl is already standing on the man who attacked her. She also says that she thinks the guy forgot that she came to sell Corey's claws, and he thinks that he will get at least 30 gold for them, because it would be a shame to waste them for a measly coin. After this, the guy just gets angry, and then runs away and screams for the girl to fall into eternal sleep. The main character starts fighting with him and says that he is only good at talking. Her into eternal sleep went, but after this, the guy only screams for her to finally fall into eternal sleep, after which several more people attack the girl. But at that very moment, someone repels their attack and asks how these dishonest creatures are not ashamed. And did they really decide to attack a defenseless girl with the whole crowd? The young lady asks if it is Clive, and the other guy screams, where did he come from? And judging by his lush clothes, he is from a wealthy family. So the guy wonders if his knightly spirit has awakened, but he will regret his insolence. After which someone screams so that he doesn't beg for mercy when they deal with him. At this time, Wayne is also walking through the market. He sees a crowd of people and wonders if he is too late to help. Well, when the guy approaches there, he is a little surprised because he sees a guy with purple hair trying to hit a lady. But that trick evades and says that his blow is good, but something is still missing. The guy after this only says what a scoundrel she is, but the young lady speaks. That it was a strange feeling to fight people after so many battles with monsters, which made her opponent even more angry. The guy then asks how long they've been messing around like this, and someone else says that she has inhuman strength, so why doesn't she knock him out with one blow? Wayne at this time says that the lady knows how to surprise him, and she is an incredible maiden, after which the guy suddenly hears someone scream and turns around, and then they see a person lying down, near which stands a brunette, after which the guy thinks, what kind of person is this? Because he looks familiar. He wonders who it was, but the main character immediately ends this useless fight. And she also tells this unfortunate man to go to sleep, after which she looks at all these lying people. And he says that they had a good time, after which he suggests continuing their interesting trade. A little while later, the girl is already looking at a whole fur coat of money, after which she says that they will see each other again. Then someone asks if she will come, and the young lady replies that of course, and asks if he really thought that she would stop there, because she would smoke up some more monster attributes and return there. After which someone asks if she is really saying that there will be more attributes, and where is she anyway, and forward. But another turns to him and says that the guy should think before asking. The girl claims that she will hunt in the canyons near Nightfall, because the canyon has no owner, so if anyone else wants to hunt, they can go, it makes no difference to her. And she even thinks that it would be more profitable for her if they came. Then someone asks if they can hunt too, but someone asks what kind of profit she's talking about. The young lady then replies that by drinking human red liquid, the monsters will become larger, after which people get scared. When the main character goes further, she says that it seems that the mister standing next to her even cried. Wayne asks, "What about Angelique?" Because she sobbing said that this crazy woman will not fall into eternal sleep even in this canyon. He also asks if the girl saw those crimson faces, to which you respond that she doesn't care, after which the guy says that she is still just as heartless. The young lady claims that only idiots would cry over such things, but Wayne claims that, thanks to her words, no one would even think of going into the canyon. He also claims that he heard that there are not enough people at the border, to which the girl replies that, maybe so, but she does not need the help of such idiots. In general, it would be a blessing if they didn't immediately start screaming to be saved, because if they are such weaklings, they won't last even a couple of minutes in this canyon. After which the young lady also wonders why the guy is there, because if you tell anyone that Mariah Wayne is on the black market, no one will believe it. The guy replies that this is a strange question. And Ella opening a black market. So how can he miss this? Most people will go crazy as soon as they find out. Well, after that, the guy says that apparently he didn't have to come after, which he asks who that man is. The girl asks who he is talking about, after which Wayne suggests that she not pretend not to know Bhutan, because he is the one who beat up Gallus Gang. The girl replies that she has no idea, but Wayne says that she is lying, because he is sure as he saw them exchanging glances. Rain tells the guy not to talk nonsense, and asks how long he plans to follow her, since she has to return to the border detachment, so he should also leave quickly. But the guy tells her to be quiet, because someone is following them, and the main character wonders if it could be one of the Gallus, or someone else. But at that moment, the guy who followed them screams Rain's name. He asks where she is going, because the border detachment is in the other direction, after which the young lady just clicks her tongue. And then they claim that they just had to pretend they didn't notice. So how else is she supposed to get rid of this idiot who doesn't take a hint? The guy with blue hair then screams at the skin she called him, and after all, such a memorable person as he is, still hard to find. And after all, he was also worried about her. After which the young man also addresses the commander and says that this is their first meeting. He also claims that he is Rain's colleague and a monster hunter's. The commander of the border guards also introduces himself and then claims that he is the captain of the border detachment. The young man is then only surprised and asks if Rain herself hadn't opened the black market. The main character says that she and this commander simply followed her, after which she turns to her friend and asks why he doesn't stop acting like an idiot and run away into the fog. She also accompanies him and says that it is already late and she will write to him about the rest. At the same moment, the Duke approaches the young lady and addresses her. The guy with blue hair screams that it was definitely this man, but he knew that they knew each other. The main character only sighs and turns to Clive. The young man with blue hair also approaches him and asks if that is really his name, and he also asks if the guy is from the border detachment, to which he replies that he is not. But then the young man takes a closer look and realizes that it is the Duke, after which he falls silent. But a second later, he cries out, "Is this Duke Clive Winterlock?" The man replies that it is true. The guy with blue hair at this time says that Rain just called him Clive, to which he replies that it is. Wayne at this time repeats in his thoughts that the girl is abnormal, and he knew it, but to address the nobility like that is too much. The Duke at this time realizes that they sold the monster's attributes and bought good equipment, so thanks to this, their budget increased. But he still thinks why he has such a bad feeling, after which he also thinks about his sister. The girl wakes up at this moment and jumps out of bed. At the same moment, someone addresses their mistress. It turns out to be the nanny, and she claims that it seems the lady had a nightmare, to which she replies that she had a bad dream about her brother falling into eternal sleep. The woman then takes the girl by the hands and tells her not to worry, because it was just a dream. Well, the brunette asks, "What if this thing is a dream?" After which the nanny replies that it is just a dream. And just next time, let the lady slap the gentleman and then wake up, drink a glass of water, and go to bed again. But then the woman sees a horrible book on the shelf about what dreams mean. The woman immediately takes the book and claims that she will tell the owner of the book about this, after which he leaves altogether. And then the young lady hears the nanny in the corridor screaming, "Where the hell the lady got that damn book from?" The man then cries out, "Did the lady really have this book?" And then apologizes. At this point, the lady with black hair realizes that she herself asked for this book. But at that very moment, something appears behind the young lady. The next day, Wayne is sitting in the border guard's camp. He introduces himself, after which the commander of the Knights and the Duke claim that he has seen him somewhere before. Then the man also says that the guy is the second hunter to stand out during the inspection after the crazy one, after which he says that he blurted it out, and he also apologizes and says that he meant abnormal, or rather, the blue-haired finger continues at this time and asks if he is talking about rain. The man then asks if the person who came to them was an adequate person, and if it was worth choosing him. He also asks why the guy is there. The young man replies that he heard rumors that Rain was opening a black market, so he was worried. Wayne says that as he thought upon arrival, he witnessed Rain enthusiastically stirring up Gallus. The man says that everything is as usual, after which his interlocutor replies that she will not answer. Neither did she. She created a mess. The commander of the Knights wonders who else could have done this besides the crazy one, and the guy with blue hair claims that the man was covered in soot, so he didn't understand. The man then says that he is a duke, and the guy says court, and he thought it was a joke when Rain called him by his name, but the captain of the Knights cries out, "Did she really call him by his name? And not Winterlock?" The young man replies that yes, he is interested in whether she had called him by his last name before, after which there is silence between them. A little while later, the guy finds himself in the Duke's office. He asks if Wayne wants to stay with them, to which the guy replies that he does, and if possible, he would like to accompany them. But the brunette replies that he is afraid that he does not understand the guy, after which he asks why he volunteers for this dangerous mission. The blue-haired youth replies that this is a chance to help the party and the Duke, as well as gain experience from respected knights. But the brunette replies that this is a lie, after which the guy gives in and replies that yes, he lied because he is just worried about Rains, and he fears that it won't be limited to just the Gallus. The Duke then asks what the guy is talking about, and he asks if he thinks that the girl managed to annoy only the Gallus. After all, they are only the beginning, and if all these people gather together for the next auction at the market, they will not get off so easily, and the Imperial Guard may even have to be brought in. The man replies that it's a difficult situation, although Wayne then asks who is afraid of these simpletons, but then he immediately shuts his mouth. The Duke tells the guy not to worry, because as long as he doesn't openly criticize the Crown Prince, like some do, then everything is fine. At this time, the main character is arguing on the street with the commander, and the guy with blue hair is wondering if the girl really criticized the Crown Prince right in front of the Duke, after which he wonders how the young lady lived to her age. But in general, he claims that he can help to identify enemies if they appear, and try to solve everything verbally, after which the brunette says that the guy is very confident in himself. He replies that he and Rain have been hanging out together for 3 years. The Duke then says that, okay, the guy is hired, and he also orders the garrison commander to give him a room. The young man with blue hair is happy about this and thanks the master. But then he gets up and says that since he is there, he can willingly help. But the man tells him not to bother. After all, no one, except for knights and border guards, will hunt monsters. The same goes for Rain. Wayne is surprised by this, and a little while later, he is already near the young lady, and he understands that Even though he said so, he is still wondering if they really won't do it. The girl then asks if he thinks they have a choice, after which he says that he doesn't believe it, because to take and forbid Rain herself from hunting is too much. But he still wonders why he did it, and whether it was simply because they are civilians, to which the lady replies that it seems so. She also claims that one can only intervene if there is a threat to the knightly squad, and that's all. At this time, one of the knights approaches the lady and asks if they can really wear this armor. The girl replies that they can, and wonders what else it is needed for. After all, this is just basic equipment, and let them say if they need anything else, because she will buy it next time. The knights immediately thank the lady, but she says that if they are so grateful, then she can expose herself on the next hunt so that she can intervene and help, after which they say how cruel she is. The blonde claims that even if they can't do it, she will soon forget how to hunt, although they have already learned to catch monsters themselves. The girl steps forward and claims that this is a tragedy. At this time, the Duke is in his office and wonders how this could have happened. He looks at the book and wonders if they said that the monster came through the window, and therefore this creature was flying. Someone who can not only fly, but also see a target behind glass, after which he sees such a monster in a book. It's called Trister. This monster is 5 meter long from head to tail, and it dives from high above and also attacks people with its sharp beak at great speed. After which the man says that this seems true, but he realizes that the skin itself is not hard, but the whole body is covered with mucus. Climbing it like quarry would be problematic, so he thinks it's good that there's already a lot of information about monsters there. But it's still a pity that there is no way to learn how to deal with those that have not yet been encountered. For example, the monster he is looking at now is a flying monster covered in caustic slime. The man wonders if it will be difficult to chop off his head and what to do with him. At this time, someone enters the Duke's office, and he says that they have allocated a room to Wayne. The man replies that this is good, after which he asks why the captain is so happy and whether he really liked this guy. He replies that he is very reasonable, and he thinks that this young man will calm down that crazy woman a little. He also claims that these two are still friends, and the girl, of course, says that he annoys her, but at the same time does not push her away. The Duke thinks for a moment after this, and then asks if they gave the mage the ingredients they bought on the black market. The man replies that yes, and as soon as he saw them, he snatched everything and immediately disappeared. The brunette replies that it's good, and the captain watching him thinks about this facial expression and such a sudden change of topic, after which he turns to the Duke and asks if something is wrong. But at the same moment, the man is very surprised. After all, he sees the monster that was written about in the book flying towards him. Brunetta turns to River, and he screams for him to immediately inform everyone and bring the magician there, to which he agrees. And the Duke, looking out the window, understands that this is Trister. At this time beyond the western border, the main character also notices this monster, after which she screams for everyone to disperse because he will aim at the places of accumulation. At that moment, a guy with blue hair runs up to the young lady and asks how to destroy this monster, because he hasn't fought them yet. The young lady replies that she doesn't know yet either, and that time he simply fell to the ground, after which the guy just curses and hands the girl his sword. The young lady asks if he bought it on the black market, and he claims that it is better than an axe. After all, it's a critical moment, to which the young lady agrees. At this time inside the fortress, one of the knights shouts for Catherine to go to the command center with the remaining troops. Let the fox check the number of wounded inside the fortress. At the same moment, someone turns to Sir Sharon. It turns out to be the Duke, and he asks where the commander is. The guy then screams that the commander is there and points at him. The man carries the magician on his back, and he only cries out that he said that he could get there himself, so let him put him down. The commander of the knights then says that it doesn't matter and let him do something, but the young man replies that he doesn't know how to attack, after which the man asks what he can do, to which he replies that he doesn't even know and can try to hypnotize the birds around, although it won't really be an attack, but if they collide, then it can help, after which the magician says that it seems he can. And he also needs to change the formula a little, after which the commander asks how many victims it will take, to which the guy replies 5 minutes. River claims that this is excellent, and to have another knight guard him while he adjusts the formula. A little while later, someone shouts that the barricade is open, and someone shouts for everyone to go inside. except for those who are following the Duke's orders. The girl also starts the countdown, but then asks where the other two are, after which everyone hears him as the monster approaches. The captain of the border guards asks where Rain is going, because they need to retreat. But the young lady only jumps to the floor and then cuts down the monsters in the air, but wonders if there are more there. After which, she sees one of them flying through the barricades and cursing. At the same moment, someone turns to the young lady and tells her to go there. The girl does so, after which she climbs up the stairs and wonders if these are the tristers. At this time, the border guard commander points to two monsters, and the main character looks at this in shock. The girl also turns around and looks for the Duke, but he only screams for everyone to take cover and stop the attack. The young lady, at this time, with shaking hands, understands that it is dangerous to continue the battle, because there are already so many casualties in such a short period of time. Clive ordered everyone to retreat and take shelter in the fortress. But at that very moment, the commander of the border guards cries out to Ella, and he asks if this is the same monster as last time, after which he wonders if the monster that attacked then was Trester. The young lady replies that yes, these monsters are driving everyone into the building, but this does not save you from them, because if you take cover, it will only make things easier for them. The guy then says that yes, and if everyone crams into the shelter, then they will be able to fight back, after which the young lady understands that in open areas, the knight is a target, and inside a building, there is no way to hide from this monster either. Well, if it turns out that the Duke is doomed, then the girl thinks that it doesn't matter how the end of the novel changes, and even her fantastic feeling doesn't play a role. After all, Clive Winterlock is more than just a character for her, after which the lady understands that she needs to do something. She also thinks that since it is a flying monster, it will be helpless on the ground, and there is only one way out. After which, the main character claims that she is going down, and also tells the commander to help the wounded, because she will deal with this monster. The guy tells her to wait and asks how the lady will do it, but she only coldly says that she will not accept any objections. A little while later, the commander is already approaching the Duke, and he screams in shock, "Where is Rain? She should be with him." The guy replies that the girl went to the barricade and said that she has a plan, after which he also says that here she is. The Duke at this time wonders what her plan is, after which the main character just screams for this red waffle to fly at her. The monster does so, and the Duke wonders if this is really her plan. While the monster flies to the young lady, she tries to see where he has the magic stone. The girl understands that they have not yet been able to find him, but she has to come up with something because her baby is in danger. After which, the main character still sees this magic stone, but wonders if it is really that deep. Now she understands why they couldn't find him, but at this time, the Duke turns to the young lady and screams that it's dangerous. However, when the monster attacks the young lady, she immediately dodges. The man cries out that now is not the time to count crows, so let her quickly come down. Well, the young lady doesn't listen to him, after which he himself goes to her. The girl at this time once again dodges the monster's blow, after which he catches the right moment and swings his sword and also wounds the monster. But when it continues to fly, the girl wonders if she really missed, but still understands that at least she was able to stay on it. So all that's left is to somehow break the stone. Well, she still wonders what that burning smell is. At this time, the Duke screams for the girl to come down because she won't last long. He also shouts that these monsters are covered in caustic acid, so let her hold on to the monster's head because there is less of this acid there. At this time, the main character looks at her shoes and asks if they are melting. The young lady realizes that she can't come down so easily from such a height, but then she realizes that she needs to pull herself together, after which the girl takes out her axe and hits the monster with it, causing it to fall. The young lady grabs the sword and then screams at the monster that they will still see who will beat whom. At this time, the Duke runs up to the captain and says how good it is that he is okay, but the man cries out that he needs a bird. The magician then asks what he is talking about and whether the gentleman is really going to fly, but the man just shakes the guy and tells him to do it faster, after which he asks why so abruptly, and asks where Rain is. The main character at this time is still trying to put the monster into eternal sleep, after which the magician immediately begins to conjure the bird and creates her. He cries out that he slightly changed the formula for its creation, and he can fly higher than usual. Well, the man says to the guy to make a bird that flies higher, because that's not enough. The magician asks what he is talking about and says that it is dangerous, but the commander of the knights shouts at him to do as the Duke orders. The man understands that he probably wants to fly to Rain, and of course the Duke is taking a big risk if something goes wrong. The monster can grab him, but one cannot ignore the fact that the informal one is in trouble because of their weakness. After which the man says, okay, and first let the guy lead him to Trister as close as possible, but quietly. After all, if he notices, then there will be trouble, to which the magician agrees. After which the man turns to Sharon, and he tells him to follow him, because they will be covering the Duke from below. The guy agrees to this, after which they move on, and the man thinks that at least all this will work out. At this time, the Duke flies up to the young lady and addresses her, after which the girl asks where he came from. But the man only tells her to come down as soon as he gives the signal. The main character asks if she should go, and he understands that this is not a bad idea, and of course she could use his help, but now is not possible. After which the girl screams that it is not now that we need to destroy the stone of this monster. The brunette is surprised by this and screams for her to drop it because her shoes are almost melted. The girl understands that this problem has already eaten away at the dogs, and the acid will soon reach their feet. After which the young lady finally sees this stone and hits it with all her might, causing it to break and the monster to begin to fall. The main character also loses her balance and falls off. The young lady understands that at this rate she can fall into eternal sleep. Well, then she sees the Duke, who extends his hand to her and screams for the girl to grab it. The young lady does so, and they descend to the ground. A short time later, the knights run up to the two and ask if they are okay. But at that very moment, someone else runs up to them and asks if they have seen Rain, and if she is okay, shakes the commander with all his might and screams, "Where is Rain?" The main character at this time responds and claims that she is fine. The girl also tells this idiot not to grab people, after which the young man lets the commander go. And he goes to the young lady and also says that thank God she is safe, but he almost had a heart attack while watching her fall. At this moment, the Duke looks at his hand and remembers how he grabbed the girl's hand with it. But he was so scared that he might not have had time to grab it. So now he says that he is so glad that it worked out. But at the same moment, the commander turns to the Duke, after which he asks how many are wounded, to which River replies that 16 people were wounded, but they are curable with potions, and only 5 knights have serious injuries. Lance quickly used his elixirs, so there is no threat to their lives, but it is still better to take them to the capital for a full examination. The brunette then asks if this means that all the hunters are alive, to which he replies that there is one person who was seriously wounded in the first attack. And since he couldn't move on his own, they took him to a shelter, so he sent knights to see how he was doing. The Duke then says that they are all great, and they should have been better prepared for such situations. The man also asks where the monster fell and offers to find it. Wayne at this time tells Rain to stay there and let herself be treated. He also tells Lance to stop whining. At this time, the main character examines the monster and asks if his claws are worth anything. The guy with blue hair asks if that's really the only thing she's interested in now. The girl replies that, of course, and it would be better for them to be as expensive as possible, because they still have to do the renovation of the building for some money, if he suddenly didn't understand. The young lady also swears and asks how this monster had to fall with his carcass right on the fortress. The Duke, watching all this, only smiles, and a few days later the knights begin repairs. His office at this time, after which he turns to look out the window, and he understands that they all survived the monster's attack safely, and in addition to the wounded, everyone was involved in the repairs. But even if they sell all the monster's attributes, it will be difficult to cover the repair costs. The man also writes down in the book how to defeat this monster. He also recalls telling the lady to come down when he gave the signal, but the girl replied that his stone needed to be destroyed. Now the man thinks that she couldn't have known in advance, but if his guess is correct, then filling out their directory will only become easier, because the problem is how to tell Rain about it. At that moment, someone turns to the Duke, and he tells the man behind the door to come in. It turns out to be the captain of the knights, and he claims that this is the case. But at that very moment, the main character bursts into the office and screams at Clive. The man then says, "What a wretch she is, because he said to wait until he reports to the Duke," while the young lady screams, "How long can we wait?" The man replies that as much as is required from the Duke, He only suggests that they calm down. He also asks what Rain wanted to say, after which she only smirks. And he claims that it is time to fulfill that promise. The man asks what other promise, but the young lady immediately screams at him, not to pretend that he has forgotten. After all, he said that if the knights got hurt, then she would be able to hunt monsters. And right now, they had a lot of wounded people. The walls were suffering, and there wasn't much money for them, so it was time for her to go hunting. The Duke then turns to the commander and tells him to check if the mage is still there, and not with Trist or Leon. And if so, let him drink it in the laboratory. The man then asks if the gentleman is really sending him away now. And he understands that everything is exactly like this, after which the commander is shocked. He leaves dejected and understands that it seems the Duke is becoming similar to Rain. At this time, the girl wonders why Clive sent him away, and whether something is wrong, after which the guy claims that he wants to ask her a question, and asks the young lady what it is. The Duke asks if she accidentally sees the monster's magic stones. The young lady is a little surprised by this, and then asks what he is talking about. Soon after Rain woke up in her new body, she began fighting monsters. When the guy with blue hair hit one of them, the young lady screamed out what he was doing. After which, she told him to hit him on the head because the stone was there, but the young man only asked what she was talking about. The main character then screamed again that there was a stone there, after which she said that the guy just shouldn't say that this stone shouldn't be touched because of its value, to which he replied that that was not the issue, and asked where the girl had seen him. After that, Rain began to hide the fact that she saw the magic stones. It was self-defense at the instinctive level, and a justified distrust. Well, most likely she wanted to preserve her power to influence the original. The girl understands that if she says anything, they will start to dig into her, and it would be bad to change the established reality of the novel, The End of the Abyss. Rain didn't want to become a hero or sacrifice herself for science, which is why she chose to hide her abilities until recently. The Duke asked the young lady if she saw the magic stones of the monsters, and she understood that it was no longer possible to hide it. She still wonders why he thought she saw stones. The man replies that, usually when you see a monster for the first time, you move it into his head, because that is the only way to put him into eternal sleep. Unless you accidentally break the stone, and only then take the monster apart and look for where he has hidden the stone. After that, you already know where exactly it is better to hit the next time you meet. But when he looked at the body of this monster, he noticed that they didn't even try to chop off the head, and the cuts were right in the right place, so he thought that she had special abilities that they didn't know about. The young lady thinks that there is no point in making excuses, and that it won't work by chance. But fortunately, the Duke is not the kind of person who will chat about this, after which she says that he is right and wonders what next. The man then hands her a book and tells her to take a look. The young lady wonders if this is the same reference book about monsters. The brunette replies that yes, it is filling up quickly, but it is still far from finished. She will have to continue hunting well, as she knows this attack has put many hunters out of action, so insisting on removing guides from hunting any longer is pointless. Therefore, it is necessary to terminate the conductor's contract and sign a new one, after which the man asks if she agrees. He also hands over this contract and tells the girl to read it and then sign it. The young lady asks if he has put anything strange in it, and when she joins the squad, she always reads all the pages of the rules and conditions. The man replies that he does not understand what it is about, and there is only one page, so let her read as much as she wants. The main character does so after this, but then wonders what it is. And what's with this ridiculous point about hunting personally with Clive Winterlock? Well, the man is just wondering what's wrong. After which, the young lady replies that firstly, she can hunt alone, and secondly, he is safer there than with her. The Duke replies that he knows she can hunt alone. He realized that, during Trester's attack, that Rain has the necessary skills for hunting and unique abilities, but still, she has no knowledge of the newest monsters, after which the main character just gets angry and asks what he is talking about. The man replies that there are a lot of monsters around with which, as with the Tristers, it is not yet clear how to fight, and if she attacks thoughtlessly, she can get hurt, and she also needs someone who will tell her about new monsters. So this point will not change. The young lady thinks she understands, but is still afraid to take him with her, because he will potentially fall into eternal sleep, but now the girl is thinking how to explain it. At this time, the man says that if she doesn't want to, then there is one option, after which the main character asks which one. And the guy puts a pile of papers on the table and claims that these are records of all known abilities of monsters. Everything is described there, except for the methods of struggle, and if she learns all this, then he's ready to give up that point. The young lady then just sighs and asks where to sign, and also understands that she is definitely in trouble. The emperor at this time is in his palace and claims that this cannot be since the duke remained alive. He also asks if this is possible, and if he hasn't started hunting monsters yet, to which his interlocutor replies that he has. And the blonde says that he definitely won't shirk with such a stubborn character. His interlocutor then asks if it is possible that the order protects him, to which His Highness replies that it is likely, but he still does not think that they are so strong. And he is clearly being helped by someone very powerful. His Highness's interlocutor asks if he has any guesses, to which he replies that he has too many. After all, the entire empire is teeming with old rats. They pretend to be loyal to the imperial family, but who knows when they might decide to stick a knife in his back and get that old man out of the grave. Or he might decide to talk nonsense like Marquis Lenin. His Majesty's interlocutors ask if he is really talking about a new race. And the blonde just claims that it's not funny to spread all these rumors in front of the last of the Asolanos family. Well, it turns out that the rumors have died down a bit. After this, the guy takes a red stone out of the box and claims that we should visit the western border. He hands this stone to his interlocutor and tells him to go and find out who is putting a spoke in their wheel. The man in the cloak claims that if it is a wizard, he will surely notice him, because the waves of the magic stone are hard to hide. But the emperor replies that it doesn't matter, because in any case, he will plunge into eternal sleep as soon as he finds out everything. At this time, someone asks the lady if he can come in, after which the girl tells him to come in. And when a man does this, the young lady wonders if a letter has arrived from her brother. The butler then simply shakes his head and replies that no, after which he apologizes. The young lady says he has nothing to apologize for, but then she is silent for a while. The man asks if he should call a doctor, and maybe he should examine the lady one more time, but he replies that there is no need, and that she is fine, and that she was just nervous because of that psycho. The man then wants to object, but the young lady immediately turns to him, and he claims that she said she was fine because it was all nerves. Well, and because of the amount of work, the girl also asks how her brother managed to do everything, after which she says that the man should not worry, because she will rest, and everything will be fine, so he can go, to which he agrees, and then leaves the room. At this time, the young lady opens the chest of drawers with letters, and she understands that she took out and read her brother's letter every time she was worried, and it became worn out, but she really felt better about it. Although she received the title of Deputy Duke, it is difficult for her because she cannot compare with Clive. In this letter, the guy addressed his dear little sister and asked if everything was okay with her, since she was probably all in work because of him. He also wrote that the girl should not overdo it. The main character at this time fights the monster and says how shameless he is, and also asks if he has a cooldown at all. The Duke asks what kind of place he is, but the young lady only tells him to forget about it. They brought him there, and such a game will never be bought. The Duke then asks like this, after which he understands that he has not understood anything. In a letter to his sister, he wrote that he had recently arrived at the western border, and before that, they hired a guide named Rain in the nearest hunting village. The main character at this time dodges the fire and then curses at the monster. The Duke at this time turns to the young lady and says that Jigglester has a short neck so that he cannot water above his head. Better to take a high place, for example, a tree. The young lady screams, "Is he really only telling her this now?" And she wouldn't dodge. Then she would just jump over. But the guy replies that it's impossible, because it's impossible to jump over this monster. The young lady at that moment runs to the monster and then jumps up. Their Duke is very worried about her. But the young lady only lands on the monster, and then says that the stone is at the tip of its tail. Although Rain often does something out of the ordinary, thanks to her hunting and training, goes smoothly. The young lady then says that this stone is exactly in the center of the peak, at the tip of the creature's tail. So let the finger shoot quickly before this creature sets it on fire, after which the Duke shoots, and the monster falls. In the letter to his sister, He also wrote that the garrison was in an extremely deplorable state due to a lack of money, but fortunately, they managed to sell the monster's attributes to somehow replenish the budget and equipment. But to be honest, this is also Rain's merit, and he is very grateful to her. The guy also often thinks about it. How lucky they were that they hired her as their guide. The young lady says at this time that they have earned a whopping 280 gold pieces. The guy then wonders if she was soaring so high just because of this. And she answers that, of course, because they caught a monster that had been hiding for several days, and they also got an attribute in the form of scales. And she likes scales more than teeth or claws, because she always builds expensively, and this is the best for the black market. The guy then says that they found money for repairs, and how he promised all the proceeds from his sale, and they will not divide. The main character then says that then she will do everything down to the last scale, after which the Duke smiles. He also approaches the young lady and wants to help, but she only asks where he put his hands, because this monster is still hot. However, Gerda says that she does the same thing herself. The young lady replies that she is a pro at this, and he had better take care of his puny little hand, after which he says that is let him not climb, in any case, but the man only continues to disassemble the scales. The main character then says that it really isn't necessary, after which she turns to the Duke again, and she claims she was so busy with the monster that she didn't hear what he said before she jumped on him. At this time, the Duke remembers how he said that it would be impossible to jump over this monster, but the girl did it. So now the man is a little embarrassed, and then says it doesn't matter. The main character asks if this is true, to which he replies that he was mistaken, and offers her to go if the girl has finished. Rain asks if that same Clive Winterlock was mistaken, and wonders what the reason for the miscalculation was in the end. The guy only understands that the answer is the laws of physics, but says that the lady doesn't need to know that. In a note to his sister, he also wrote that it had been a slow start, but he thought he would be able to return even earlier than planned, so she should not worry, and say hello to the nanny and Albert as well. Now the guy's sister thinks that it's hard for him there, and he must not have written earlier because he wanted to finish quickly, but this is really surprising, because that same Clive relies on someone else, and that same guy who makes people cry by doing it all on his own. And this guy not only relies on it, but also praises her for something. And yet the girl thinks, who is this Ella Rain? At this time, someone else is heading to the carts and thinks that they are right when they say that only troubles come from money. He understands that his very presence gives him goosebumps, but he still wonders who this guy is. A little while later, the man was sitting in the tavern, but then someone came to him, and he also asked if he was the owner of that carriage outside, because its owner urgently needed a crew for 3 days, so he asked if he would take it. The man understood that this guy, judging by his clothes, was rich, after which he claimed that he was interested in how much they were willing to pay for the hire. The man replied that he would give 50 gold coins in 3 days, after which the man was surprised, and realized that this was even more than he earns in a month, and did not understand why he suddenly had such a lot of money. The stranger claimed that he needed to be taken to the western border, after which the man claimed that the road ahead would be dangerous, so he would have to pay extra for it since it was a problematic place. After which the guy claimed that for the risk, he would give plus 20 coins. The man then rose from his seat and did not say that he thought they would work together. He also asked if the dispatch would be right now, and if so, they could move out. When they went outside, the man told the man to give him his luggage because he would put it in the carriage, but he replied that he had no luggage. The coachman was then a little surprised and asked what the gentleman would do for 3 days on the road, since if he planned to stop by some village, he would have to pay extra, but he replied that he did not plan to. The stranger also said that the man should take a person to replace him, since the trip without breaks was required, and he should not worry about the passenger, since he should take provisions only for himself and the second coachman, to which the man agreed, and understood that, in principle, as long as he was paid, it made no difference. After which this man suggested that they go. The man claimed that no one had yet sat in the carriage, to which he replied that this was how it should be, so let them get going already. The guy held out a bag of money and claimed that there were 50 gold pieces in it, and that he would pay the risk premium upon completion of the job, so they should hurry up. The coachman wanted to object after that, but the man then replied that he understood and would find another one. After this, the man said no, and he was going. But now he understands that he should have refused back then because he sensed something was wrong and could turn back right now. But then he realizes that he needs to get it together because it's a whole 70 gold coins and he'll just find the shortest route for them. The main character, a little while later, goes with the Duke and says that they also did a good job today. At this time, the wizard also addresses them, and the young lady says that he is really shining, after which she wonders if something good has happened. The guy says that the monster attributes they brought are simply amazing, and they can't even imagine what results they were able to achieve with them. The young lady then says that they really can't, after which she lays more monster pieces on the ground. And the wizard asks if this time they were brought in smaller numbers and of different types, so they are simply gods. The main character at this time also claims that they still have the red liquid and the heart. But first, it is better for him to give what he hid in his pocket, after which the guy asks what she is talking about. And the main character replies that she is talking about the fangs that he just stole, or he forgot how they agreed, because he only gets the hearts and the red liquid, and the hunters get the horns and claws. The guy then only says that this is a very important thing, they contain hallucinogenic poison. The main character then starts to bargain with the guy and they reach 80 gold, at which point the guy says what a miser she is. The young lady thanks him for the compliment, but tells him to return the fangs quickly, as this is his last warning. The guy then looks at the Duke and he sighs and tells him to take one, after which the magician says that the Duke is the best. After this, the main character only gets angry and screams, "Is he really doing this again?" When the guy leaves, the young lady turns to the Duke and claims that they have already discussed this. But the man says that it is only one click. But the young lady then screams that if only one such parsley has already happened 5 times. After which she also tells the Duke to listen, because if this happens again. But when a girl looks at a guy's face, she starts to stutter and thinks that using a face is against the rules. At that very moment, someone cries out to the Duke and tells him to move away from her because just the sight of her ruins his vision. He also screams that he already warned her not to mess with the Duke, and it's not enough that they are the only 2 hunting monsters in a dangerous atmosphere. The main character then asks why he is yelling like that, and if he is jealous, then let him say so. The main character then tells the man to take a photo of him, and the Duke will be with him, but he only asks what "take a photo" means. The brunette at this time tells them both to stop, and then turns to the captain, and also states that they need to tell Sir Haugen to edit the directory. The man at this time asks if this really needs to be done now, and the Duke does not send him away in this way. Well, the brunette looks at him, as if showing that everything is exactly like that, after which the man disgustingly leaves. And the Duke turns to the young lady and asks what kind of letter it is, to which the girl replies that it is from Irving, and he says that he will open the black market again in a couple of days. The young lady also says that perhaps this will be the last collection, and that their reference book is almost finished, so maybe they will even leave some of the attributes, and then the knights will be able to sell them when they need the money. The main character also asks if they will go hunting tomorrow at the same time, to which the guy replies that yes. Well, then he thinks about the last black market, and he claims that he owes the lady an apology for what happened earlier. After all, he agreed to the magician's request without even thinking and without taking into account that the horns and fangs were hers by right. So he promises that this will not happen again. The young lady is silent for a while after that, and the Duke asks what is going on. And the main character says that it is okay because she is forgiving him for the last time. The man then says that it's fine, and when he leaves, the young lady sighs and thinks that this could drive her crazy, and she even wonders which of them is in greater danger. A little while later, Hogan claims that the guide is thus almost complete. This is a big step forward considering that they initially assumed that the whole gang would collapse there. The Duke replies that this is correct, and Hogan claims that this little huntress has really helped them out because even their captain recognizes her. The man claims that she is of course abnormal, but good. But then he claims that this is not what he wanted to say, so let them not tell anyone about it. Hogan then also states that he seems a little upset that the job will end so quickly, and he would like to go home himself, but once they finish work there, they will not see that girl again. But when he thinks about the fact that they will not meet again, tears come to his eyes. And who would have known that he would be so touched? The Duke at this time thinks that they will not meet again, and realizes that Rain is just a huntress, whom they hired as a guide. Of course, returning home successfully should cause a surge of joy, but the guy wonders why he feels so bad at heart. And he can't understand why he is so incredibly sad. Hogan asks the Duke at this time, "Did something happen?" A little while later, the main character is hunting monsters again. She screams that there is no end to them, and that first they will deal with those in front. After which, the main character immediately destroys them all. And the Duke watches this. The man then wants to address the young lady, but she only cries out that he has a stone right on his face. After which, the man agrees and shoots the monster a little while later. The main character is already collecting materials. The guy asks what kind of gloves these are, and the young lady replies that Mac gave them to her out of absent-mindedness. These are gloves that do not let poison acid and heat through, and finally he created something worthwhile. But she thought that he only wanted to steal attributes. The Duke then says that it is clear that the young lady is asking if she can keep them for herself once everything is over. The man at this time thinks that everything will end and understands that as soon as they finish their work here, they will never see that girl again, after which the main character asks Clive what he will say. And he replies that, of course. And the main character says that it's great. And to be honest, she's already mentally prepared to defend them with a fight. Well, if he decides to ask someone for this, then let him turn to Sir River, because he can even be beaten. After which, the young lady says that that's all, and they're going back, because they still need to make it to the black market. The guy then says, "What about the black market?" The guys express their desire to join him, after which he asks what the girl will say. The main character then asks who suggested this, and claims that she can only take 3 with her. It's him Edmonod and the annoyingly intrusive Wayne, and she's forced to take him. So now the young lady says that she can't take more than 3, to which the man replies that it's understandable. A little while later, the main character sees 3 people in front of her, and Mac claims that he was told that only 3 can go, so he will go instead of the Duke. The main character is surprised by this and asks what he is talking about, after which she asks why the magician is there. The commander of the knights claims that they all wanted to go so much that the Duke gave up his place and everything was decided by lot. At this time, one of the knights asks if the magician was cheating, but he says that everything is not so. At this time, someone else asks if she really is taking 3 people with her, but the girl understands that this is not what she meant, and Clive is too pedantic. After which she says that the squad captain must go. Wayne is an idiot because he directly deals with the gang, and there is no point for the rest to go there. After this, the Duke only looks sadly at the floor. And the main character understands that, if you think about it, this handsome guy is also not within the limits, after which she says okay, and they all go. The girl thinks how hard it is to refuse the cutie Duke. One day, Mr. Rocca, who was an ordinary hunter, went hunting as usual with his troop. Unfortunately, he somehow got separated from his squad and found himself alone in a place full of monsters. Mr. Rocca tried to return to the squad as quickly as possible, but suddenly a monster jumped out of the bushes that he had not noticed. At that moment, Rain appeared and saved Mr. Rock, so he started baking local pies for her every weekend. And Rocca is not the only one. The Duke at this time tells the young lady that they have somehow separated. The girl replies that she knew it would be like this, and should have cut the barrel of that idiot's gun with an axe a long time ago, because no matter how much she told him that the black market is illegal and not just a night market, it was all useless. The man claims that something else will happen when they get there, because the black market will look even less like itself. But the young lady replies that she doesn't even want to think about it. At this time, the brunette says that, at least these stories are interesting, since it's rare that someone is called a hero so often. The young lady then says that she didn't want to save him, because that guy was just in front of the monster, who was trying to put him into eternal sleep. This is what it turned out like, and she doesn't even mention the pies, because how can you eat them when you know that there's monster meat in them? So she is no hero, and she did not help out of the kindness of her heart. But the Duke asks, what difference does it make what prompted her to help? Of course, for some people this is important, but for most people the most important thing is the result. So no matter what prompted her to join their squad, everyone is very grateful to her. The young lady then asks if it doesn't matter what drives her and what she thinks, and that he knows that her intentions were impure, and that she was too loud in her fandom. The guy at this time claims that he thinks Wayne thinks so too. The main character is a little embarrassed after this, and she thinks that it is so unexpected. But she felt like a sailboat carried away by a tsunami, a feeling she has never experienced before. and the girl thinks how beautifully he smiles. After which he goes on to say that you can go crazy like that, and also thinks that beauty is harmful to your health. At this time, they come to the black market, and the main character says that they have arrived. At that moment, someone asks Rain if she really came to such a cool place without them. Sharon replies that it is true, and he feels betrayed. But the young lady asks how many times he repeats that this is not a night market for them, but a black one. After which, she says that it doesn't matter to her that they should go further, but let them not think of calling each other by their real names. Then they move on, but at that very moment, a man appears in the middle of the market, and he says that he finally found it. The main character, at this time, gathers all the people around her and says that they should now listen there. Because, like she said, let them not call each other by their real names, and also let them pull up their hoods and not take them off, because the people there are idiots, so let them be more careful. Wayne will go at a distance from them, so this does not apply to him, and the others can look around. For now, Edmund will go with her, because the people had to see her representative in person, to which the guy agrees. And the young lady then turns to the Duke and says that he wanted to send a letter there, to which he replies that this is true. And the main character tells him to send him then and buy everything he needs, because they will meet outside the market in an hour. The young lady also reports that the skinny guy without front teeth is ripping off, so you need to be careful with him, and also let him beware of little girls in hats singing and pickpockets. And the last thing is that he shouldn't think of going after someone who says he's handsome and cute. The man then says, of course, but then shocked asks what she's talking about. The young lady at this time says that then they can go. The Duke understands that only she could say such a thing. Another knight at this time says that he is in shock. The Duke then tries to say something, but the blonde guy claims that this girl clearly has 9 lives or something like that. After all, how dare she lecture the Duke? And he just can't get his head around it. The brunette just sighs and thinks that it's good that this guy didn't notice. After which, he suggests that they disperse and meet in an hour, and also that they try not to reveal themselves, to which they agree. One of the knights then says that the gentleman is a bit strange today, and that he is probably not used to such places. The blonde wonders what they are talking about, and whether they really don't understand at all. The wizard then asks what Miller is talking about, after which he asks if he doesn't like being taught to, which the other knight says that it is possible, and the blonde understands that the gentleman clearly blushed from Rain's words, after which he sighs and thinks that he will not talk about it anymore. A little while later, someone turns to River and asks why he is so gloomy, and also, is he really sad because he wasn't taken to the black market? The man then asks if he's really talking about him, and then Hogan says, okay, and he believes, after which he asks why he only scratches the hunter every day, to which he screams that it's because she behaves like an idiot. After which, the man sits down next to his colleague and looks at the letters in his hands. He asks if they are from Mrs. Offelli, to which he replies that it is strange but no. Hogan asks if she hasn't written yet, to which the man replies that she has. These were all bills from the builders, or letters from wounded knights, who had been sent to the village, but not a single one from the lady, the governess, or the nanny. So in a word, not a single message came from the duchy. He also asked the messenger, but he replied that all the letters from the capital were safely delivered. The man then says that maybe something happened to the messenger from the duchy, because sometimes they fall off their horses. But after this, the man cries out that there are no letters even from Maria, and that she always leaves her letters with the city merchants. And if they didn't write to him, they could have at least written to Sir Miller Hogan, then asks if Maria isn't his wife. But she often writes to Sir Miller on business matters since he is responsible for the budget. The man then says that it is strange because she should have written, if not to him, then to Sir Miller. And the Duke apparently sent a letter every time he went to the market. His interlocutor then says that he agrees, and if the lady had received them, she would have already sent a reply, after which they both think about it. Has something really happened in the capital? The Duke at this time turns to one of the merchants and claims that he wants to send a letter. The woman replies that it will cost 20 silver and asks for the address. The man claims that he wants to send a letter to the Duchy of Winterloch, after which the girl is a little surprised. And the Duke wonders if there are any problems with this, and he replies that there are plenty of them, and they cannot deliver letters there yet, and one could even say that no one will undertake to deliver a letter there. She doesn't know why a simple monster hunter would send a letter there. They won't be able to help anyway. After this, the guy immediately heads off somewhere and wonders if something really happened. But he needs to finish his business quickly and return to the capital, so now he is urgently heading to Rain's. At this time, the girl says that it's great, because the deal is closed, after which she turns to the commander and asks if he saw how it should be done, to which he replies that he understood, and the influence of the young lady is really great, so in the future, he will only sell attributes in this way. The guy also remembers how a young lady put a dagger in front of a merchant and told him to give a discount to anyone who showed this dagger. The man then asked if she was talking about a representative and if since things were going well, they had hired a dog. But the girl replies that he is not a dog because this dagger is her, so she does not advise arguing. The guy just smiles after this and asks how this dagger can be her representative. Well, at that very moment, the main character throws this dagger at the wall near the guy, which makes him turn pale, and the young lady claims that she didn't hear, and let him repeat it again. The guy then jumps up immediately, that of course I won't treat this dagger as personally to her, and the young lady says that she likes the way he thinks. The man claims that they are glad that she liked it. A little while later, the captain and border guards claim that it was a bit creepy, and the young lady claims that without this, they will constantly fleece, and it is better to show the strength of the very beginning. She also claims that the Duke should have returned by now, but then she sees the guy wrapped up. And she says that their nobleman has returned, but then she also sees another person and asks if that is really the color red. At this time, the commander asks Rain if something is wrong, and the girl claims that this is a magician and is interested in Vaillant. The man replies that he doesn't know, and is she talking about Lance? Well, the girl replies that no. And it's not their poppy because behind the Duke there is a poppy in a black t-shirt holding a staff with a magic stone. But after that, the guy asks what she is talking about, because there is no one there, which surprises the young lady, and she thinks who it is. Then it seems to her that she has already seen this guy somewhere. But then she thinks, is this really the same magician from the end of the abyss? But he was definitely not visible. But when Ailia enters the palace, then this guy appears and starts making some plans with the prince, so the girl thinks that after this, the main events will begin. Well, the main character also thinks why she suddenly stumbles upon this jerk there, in the kushi. And there aren't even the main characters there, after which she says that anything can happen in the world. Well, the girl understands that initially, only Ailia could see him, so she wonders why she sees him too. The girl also asks what to do, and thinks about how she should act in the current situation. At this time, the commander asks if the miss is okay, but she only says that Edmund should help. Let him keep people as far away from her as possible now, and if she tries to put someone from the civilian top into eternal sleep, let him stop her. The young lady claims that it is not difficult, and she relies on him, after which the guy says that he asks one, what does not difficult mean? And the main character at this time screams that she needs to sort this out now. The girl hopes that everything will be fine, but if she sorts this out now, it will be easier later. But what if she fails? At this time, someone grabs Rain, after which the girl turns around and strikes. A little while later, everyone gathers together, and the blonde asks Sir Sharon what happened to the atmosphere. He replies that he doesn't know because he returned with him, after which the guy turns to Wayne and asks what happened there. At this time, the magician looks at the axe which is near his feet. The young lady turns around at this time and says that he escaped. The guy with blue hair, at this time, says that Rain suddenly pounced on the wizard with a full emphasis, but fortunately, she did not get hit. Someone else asks how this is possible, and another replies that he doesn't understand either. At this time, the wizard understands that there was definitely something there, and someone used magic, so Rain must know something about it. At this time, the Duke turns to the young lady and says that when they arrive, she should come to him because they need to talk. The wizard then realizes that this is exactly what kind of misunderstanding this is, and the young lady claims that she also needs to say something. At this time, the crown prince is sitting in his office and examining several precious stones. But at that very moment, knights enter the room and then present several daggers to his neck. It turns out it's the emperor, and he asks if the guy really thought he could outsmart him. The man also screams that he is planning to cheat, and it is just funny because nothing will work out for him. So one day he will meet the same fate as him. The guy then just sighs and starts laughing. Then the blonde takes a knife and stabs himself, but then accidentally knocks over a glass of wine, from which he falls and breaks. The guy only takes 3 crystal balls back into his hand. At that moment, someone informs His Highness that Ophelia Winterlock, who is the Duke's deputy, is waiting for him in the guest room. The man then tells her to tell her that he will be there soon, after which he looks at the red stones. The main character at this time enters the Duke's office and asks what he wanted to talk about at the black market. The young lady thinks he is sullen and probably puzzled by the fact that she swung an axe at the wizard. It seems that in the original, it was said that the wizard has the ability, because the closer a strong person is, the stronger he is. But if the person is weak, then he begins to feel some discomfort. Well, it seems she's been thinking for too long, after which the girl claims that there was a misunderstanding, and she didn't want to attack Lance. The Duke then says that it was someone else, and the young lady says that it was, but then in shock asks if he saw him too. The brunette replies that no, and he didn't see anyone there, but he knows that someone was there. The young lady asks who, after which the Duke claims that she was simply looking too hard at it. He thought that no one else can see the magic stones, so this time it might be something similar, and judging by her reaction, it is. The main character then asks if this means that he called her not to scold her, but the guy only wonders if she would listen. But in any case, he wants to know what really happened there, and then asks about it. The young lady then wonders how much she can tell Clive about everything, since he didn't ask such a difficult question. The girl understands that the main villain of the novel is the one who carries out the orders of the Crown Prince and skillfully manipulates him. He is a powerful evil magician, and ultimately, the one who will destroy this country. But the young lady wonders how much she can tell, because for the Duke she is just an ordinary monster hunter. And if she says that, then no. Then Clive will start suspect her. The Duke at this time turns to the young lady and tells her to tell him. What was that? The girl looking at his face understands that her heart is pounding, after which she says that this magician was terribly handsome and all in black. The Duke asks what she is talking about, and the young lady replies that she means that he was all in black. He had a black robe from head to toe, and he was holding a staff similar to the one Lance has. So it seems that he is a magician, after which Rain thinks that this is enough, and also claims that she does not know where he came from, because then he just disappeared like smoke. The guy then asks if she's really talking about smoke. He also remembers sitting at the bar a little while ago and asking if Leon was okay. The man replied that yes, and at least it was better than just lying in the mansion. After which he also asked if Clive was aware of the rumor, after which the guy asked what his interlocutor was talking about, and he replied that they said, His Highness the Crown Prince was shrouded in black smoke. The Duke then asked if these were not just empty rumors, since someone must have spread them to undermine the greatness of the royal family. But the man replies that these are not just rumors, because he saw everything with his own eyes, and it was terrible. He can't blame Clive for not believing him, but it's true, it sent shivers down my spine when he first saw it. After which, the man with a shaking voice said that he did not know whether it was a man or a monster, but the way the smoke slid. At the time, the Duke was simply concerned about his friend's unusual behavior and did not attach much importance to the conversation, until he realized that this was their last conversation because of the black smoke that was rumored to have enveloped the Crown Prince, and also a friend who encountered this black smoke, and Clive forced to go to the border because of a friend's funeral. It was only a matter of time before it became clear what the cause and effect connection was between these events, and if it was the same thing Ella was talking about. It was undoubtedly His Highness who sent that smoke to the black market, and his goal was his life. Now Clive grabs his neck and understands that this is a ridiculous act, because as a duke he tried to protect his family and country all his life, and of course considered it his duty as well as the meaning of his entire existence. But ultimately, he cannot protect either his country or his family, and his life is at risk. He also remembers how his friend said that, no matter how hard he tried, no one would save this country. At this point, someone else approaches Clive. It turns out to be the main character, and she wonders if she said something wrong. The brunette replies that he doesn't, and apologizes. Well, the young lady says that he doesn't need to apologize and asks why he was so shocked. And maybe he knows this magician, after which the man clenches his fists, and the young lady understands that it looks like yes. But if he knows who it is, then he probably also guesses that the Crown Prince is behind what happened, so it's not surprising that he's in shock. The guy at this time apologizes for calling her so late, and claims that he wanted to ask her only about this, so now she can go. Well, the main character replies that, no, and she also has something to say because she wanted to wait until tomorrow, so as not to spoil the atmosphere. But it is urgent because people's lives are at stake, after which the young lady claims that she will go to the capital. The brunette is surprised by this and asks where she is going to, which she once again replies that she is going to the capital. The girl asks if this is a place where monster hunters can't get to, and she has already heard about this because monster hunters belong to the poor conditions of society, so they cannot enter the capital where the royal palace is located. She roughly understands why they think this way, because when they see how they cut up disgusting and stinking monsters for food, and they dig through their dead bodies in search of something useful, and it may seem too cruel, but isn't it funny? After all, they receive a fair reward for honest work, and as long as it is used for its intended purpose, it is still the same money. However, hunters are still treated badly, and in addition, it is the residents of the capital who use the materials obtained from monsters. The blonde also says that she always felt that the reason for the discrimination was too absurd, and probably this is what is called discrimination. The brunette then apologizes to Rain and says that he was stupid, but the young lady says that it was not he who made such laws, but that the boys answer that it is true, but he should not have said so, especially after he received so much help from her and the other hunters. So he sincerely asks for forgiveness, because it was stupid of him. People answer that she didn't think that getting to the capital would be easy. However, she has business there, so she has to get there. The guy asks if she really has business, after which the main character says that how can she finish off the magician, which makes the man cough. The main character asks what is wrong with him, because she didn't say anything like that, but he says that it's not, that it's just that no one usually expresses themselves like that. A little while later, His Highness says that the boy has finally arrived. The young lady says that the capital is full of magicians, so they must know where he is going, and then she will cut off his head with an axe or a pot. And honestly, if it weren't for Lance, she would have chopped his head off with an axe, and that would have shown whether a physical attack would work against him or not. In any case, she chose the wrong moment. At this time, the brunette wonders if she really wants to put the magician into eternal sleep, but then says that this is nonsense. However, then he wonders if the girl hasn't achieved everything that was previously considered impossible, and if it is Rain, then everything can be possible. The young lady at this time says that it doesn't matter, even if he can't take her to the capital, because she always realizes her plans. The guy replies that of course, and he knows about it, after which he realizes that this is not the end. After all, they don't have to part yet, after which he hands the lady a paper and suggests going to the capital. He also understands that this fact alone calms him down. His Highness, a little while later, says that the guy has finally arrived. The man in the robe says that he must have good news, since he's smiling from ear to ear, to which the guy replies that he definitely has. After all, Ailia came to him last night of her own free will. She was in a terrible state because of the nightmares, so he introduced her to the doctor and the maids so that she would get better. The man in the black robe asks if he is talking about the doctor, and it is funny because the prince is the source of all her problems. The guy replies that this is why he is treating her, because thanks to him, Ailia will soon recover. The blonde also says what a boring reaction this is, and then says okay, after which he asks who is helping the Duke, and whether it is Marchioness Cecilia Lennon or Viscount Ingray, or maybe one of his father's old soldiers. But the man in the robe claims that none of them were there, after which the blonde is surprised and asks what he is talking about. His interlocutor replies that only Clive Winterlock and the Winter Knights were there. But the blonde tells his interlocutor not to lie, and wonders if this is all he can tell him after using so many magic stones. The man in the robe says that no matter how many times His Highness asks, he will only say what he saw with his own eyes. After all, there was no one there, except for him, after which the guy throws the vase altogether, and also screams, "What kind of curse is this, and how could he survive then?" The wizard at this time remembers the main character, and she thinks that it was probably because of her that the Duke was able to survive. And what's more, she was able to see him even without using detection magic. Until now, only one person could do this, so he needs to find out about this woman. At this time, the main character is in the Duke's office, and he claims that first, they will send several knights to study the situation in the capital. If we combine what she saw and heard, something should come out, to which the young lady replies yes. After which she also says that we need to find out how Ophelia is. The Duke notes that of course that also needs to be found out. After which he notices something else and tells the girl to wait, and also asks if he told her about Ophelia. The young lady then replies that she heard the knights talking because they were worried that Lady Ophelia was left alone in the capital, and that's what they were talking about. The young lady understands that it was dangerous because she almost blurted out too much. After which the girl says that in any case, for now, they can finish with the encyclopedia and go upstairs. The man replies that she has worked hard, so let her go, we'll have a rest. The young lady agrees, and the Duke then says that they need to find a way for the hunters to get to the capital, but the young lady replies that she doesn't think that's necessary. After which the brunette asks if she really has an idea, to which the girl replies that she does, and wonders what's so difficult about it. After all, they will catch a passerby and have a heartfelt conversation with him, and also lend him a pass. And then even more sincerely with the castle guard. The brunette then claims that he will definitely find another way out. A little while later, River comes into the Duke's office and says that the gentleman has been busy since early morning. Well, when he sees the state the guy is in, he asks if he hasn't gone to bed yet, to which he replies that yes, and he has too much work. The knight commander says that he should have been woken up, but the boy replies that no, and that he has another request for him. After all, he wants him to lead the knights tomorrow and return to the capital first. Well, the man then asks in shock, why so suddenly? And the Duke replies that he himself knows that the situation in the capital is currently very tense and the collection is almost ready, so it would be good to study the situation as soon as possible. The man says that is true, and then he will immediately gather knights who will go with him, and if possible, choose the young ones. Clive says that is good, and in the meantime, he will finish the paperwork. And he would also like the commander to look at this, after which the man asks what else it is. The brunette replies that it is a contract, after which the commander shouts out what kind of contract it is. The Duke replies that he composed it today at dawn, together with Rain, and decided to take her with him to the capital. The man is then surprised and asks why he does this. The knights on the street then wonder if someone just yelled. But the other one replies that it doesn't matter now, because Rain will come out soon, and he definitely needs to find out. What did she talk about with the Duke last night? After which the guy sees the girl and is going to greet her. But when they see what a bad mood she is in, she just hides behind another knight. He also says that he thinks it would be better for him not to ask anything, and his interlocutor replies that it looks like that. At this time, the main character sits down and says that she has a splitting headache. Hogan also turns to her and says that news has already reached him. The young lady asks if he has already heard. But it is incredible. But the man wonders how she copes at all, because if the knight commander starts being rude to her, then she should immediately tell him. After which, the guy also asks how much torment she went through, that even her face suffered so much. The girl replies that you won't live through it. She just doesn't get enough sleep. After which, she also claims that it is because of anxiety, and the man asks if she is worried about punishment, and if she is worried about the fact that she is facing punishment for breaking the magician's head. The young lady replies that she was actually going to deal with the other guy, and Mac just stepped in, and besides, his head is still in place. And the Duke wasn't even angry with her, so there's no question of him helping. Wayne then asks if this is the case. He thought that she was kicked out of the knightly squad, but then he asks why the lady has such a face. The main character simply asks what he means by that. The young lady then says that she doesn't know what he means, but she just didn't sleep well last night. And there, you can't even fall asleep from excitement. But at that very moment, someone runs up to her, and he screams why the hell the girl is going to the capital. The blonde replies that she was talking about important things, and he just went and interrupted her, after which the commander asks if this means that she is going to the capital, and if she is really going to do what she mentioned earlier, and also to cut the crown prince. The young lady says almost but not quite. After which, one of the knights says that he thinks they should also listen to the opinions of the capital's residents. The Duke is in his office at this time, and understands that the letter is finished, since now only official documents remain. He also remembers how the girl at the black market said that there were a lot of problems, and at the moment they could not deliver a letter there, and not only they, but also no one else. Now the brunette is thinking what an idiot he is, because if the magician that Rain saw really is close to His Highness, then it is unknown what will happen to the knights. He also recalls how the commander of the knights said that it was impossible, because even if it was the crown prince himself, they had no reason to prevent the entry of knights who had completed their mission. So said the commander, "Well, they came up with an excuse to cross the border, and can't they handle it?" After which he also thinks that as long as everyone is safe. The Duke also turns to the window and sees the main character, after which he thinks that this is truly amazing. After all, the girl said so easily that she would deal with this magician, but then he also remembers how she said that he was terribly handsome in black. And then he thinks, is this magician really that handsome? A little while later, someone at a meeting says that they have already been dismissed 3 times. Then he asks what happened to this previously diligent person that he behaves like this. But another aristocrat then tells him to be quiet and wonders if he hasn't heard the rumors yet about the one who visited the imperial palace, and they say that it was Ailia Winterlock herself. She seems to have completely lost her mind, waiting for news about her brother, and the crown prince is personally taking care of her. Someone else asks if the duke really has gone into eternal sleep, but another claims that if the news gets out, the side will immediately try to take over the estate, so the Winterlock estate is trying to suppress rumors. Someone else claims that the estate probably hopes that Ailia Winterlock, he will come to his senses, but who knows? At the same moment, the marquise rises from the table and heads towards the door, after which someone asks if she is already leaving. One of them says it's downright creepy, and the other says there's nothing you can do about it. A little while later, the woman is already sitting at a table with someone, and says that it looks like Ailia Winterlock has fallen under the wing of the crown prince. The woman also says that she feels very sorry for her, and how could he have ever seen her? The guy at this time says, "What an exquisite aroma this tea has." But the woman replies that it is alcohol, after which the guy immediately spits it out. And the marquise claims that due to the current situation in the country, it is simply impossible to stay sober. The crown prince is unclear where and what he is doing, not showing himself to people, that black smoke or whatever it was. Everything is shrouded in mystery, so one even has to think about whether it is worth attracting more allies. The woman also turns to the guy and asks him if he found what she asked for. He replies that yes, after which he points to the map and claims that he was able to follow this place, but then the trail gets lost at the western border. And it looks like the huntress has changed her name. The only known items are her blonde hair, tall stature, and rough behavior towards others. However, finding someone with such characteristics is not an easy task, but if they expand the search area to neighboring villages, then he thinks that they will be able to quickly find her. The marquise understands that things are also taking a strange turn with the duke, and his affairs, of course, do not concern her. After which, the woman tells the guy that he did a good job, and considering that it was not easy to find out about the events of 3 years ago. But the result is not bad, and she claims that the guy really deserves the fame of an informant. She also tells him to continue surveillance and report back immediately if any new information emerges. After all this, girl is the only hope for this rotten empire. The main character is standing with Wayne at this time, and he says how strange it is, after which the girl asks what exactly. The young man replies that people from neighboring villages have come, and they probably want to ask for help again because of the invasion of monsters. The main character asks what is it that in this century usually happens once or twice a month, after which the guy says that, for sure, because she was always hunting and didn't know, because this is already the 5th request for help in a week. The girl is then surprised and wonders what kind of monsters have appeared there, to which the guy replies that in the first village, there was Idabo, in the second and third, a Tripter, in the fourth, Italy, and more than 100 of them ran there. The merchant, who miraculously escaped, reported the attack, and the knights hastily moved to that village. The guy then turns to the young lady, and she is shocked, and wonders if they themselves could have so brazenly invaded the village. Well, she still wonders what kind of feeling of déjà vu this is. At this point, someone else turns to the young lady and asks if she is okay, after which the girl asks if Clive has arrived. He only says that she had that look. The young lady replies that she was just thinking for a second, and it is nothing special, after which she suggests that they hurry up anyway, because they only have to catch one, and they need to go to the capital as soon as possible, to which the guy agrees, after which they head on. Wayne wishes the two good luck, and then turns to one of the knights and asks what kind of monster it is this time. He replies that they say there are as many as 5 quarry there, which shocks the guy, after which he wonders what is going on there. After permission to go to the capital reign, and Clive set out to hunt in search of the last monster from the reference book. But a little while later, the girl realizes that it is already the 3rd day and wonders where this creature disappeared to. After which, she screams out that Peleg is not some kind of mythical monster, he is only level 3, so she thinks why then he is nowhere to be seen, and there is only one left, so where could he have gone? The girl then screams that it is written there that this monster is as tall as 2 people, and its steps are heard from afar with a pure white color, and emits a terrible stench. The roar is so terrible that it stands out even among other monsters. The girl then says that it's like looking for a banana boat in the middle of a sandbank. And it's not surprising that they didn't meet any other monsters on the way there, but she didn't think that I would disappear, because they went around all the caves, after which the girl asks if she was the last one. The Duke replies that yes, there are no more caves left, and the young lady says that you can go crazy like that, and also wonders if that is even possible, because even if they all left together, at least someone should have stayed. The man replies that even if they had left, they would have gathered somewhere nearby, since Pelegs are famous for not leaving their chosen place. The young lady thinks that this is true, and this monster is really famous for not leaving its lair, which means there are not a single one left. The young lady also suggests summing up, and asks whether it turns out that the monsters deviated from the characteristics described in the reference book, but this means that something given in it is inaccurate. The brunette then adds that something so serious happened that it caused such changes, and it is one of 2 things. The young lady then understands that there is definitely something fishy there, because Poppy has recently appeared on the black market, the connection with Ailia has been lost, and there is still no sign or word of the captain who recently left for the capital, and monsters are attacking villages, as well as the missing Peli. All this means that the plot unfolds regardless of whether Clive is alive or not. The girl also thinks that the story is unfolding faster than she expected, and it is obvious that after the news that the guy is alive, they clearly began to rush. Then the young lady turns to the guy and says that they need to get to the capital as soon as possible because they have little time left. But at that moment, the girl sees several monsters in the sky. And the Duke says that she is right, because these monsters are moving straight to the capital. A little while later, Wayne turns to another knight, but he claims that he asked to call him Rosalie, after which he wonders if something happened. The guy replies that it's nothing and asks if he's waiting for someone because he just keeps looking at the entrance. The guy then says that it's true, and it looks like he was waiting unconsciously. The guy with blue hair asks what, and his interlocutor replies that the commander-in-chief should have sent news from the capital. But so far there is silence. Wayne asks if this should really happen already, and shouldn't the trip take at least 10 days. He also heard that the journey there took a long time for their squad, but the knight claims that back then they stopped at a village on the way and had problems with monsters. But now not many knights left with him, so the journey should have taken about 5 days. Wayne asks if that's really the case, after which he says that the capital is simply closer than he thought, and he suddenly became interested in what it's like since he'd never thought about it before. And it's a little strange. It is also difficult for him to imagine that in 5 days of travel, one can reach the city without encountering monsters, and then asks what kind of capital this is. And also, the truth is only that it is as luxurious as they say about it. And the most luxurious place he visited was the estate of Baron Barkham. So he wonders if it's even better in the capital. Sharon is silent after that, and Wayne turns to him, tearing him out of his thoughts. Rain, who lives one day at a time, can do that, and for him this will probably never be possible. But his interlocutor replies that no, and the guy himself will tell him what the capital looks like, after which Wayne agrees.